All right, we are back with another banger of a video for the things that we did in February relating to pod collecting. That includes stuff like not going outside and talking to people, and includes things like staying in our homes and looking at random things on our screens and whatnot. And the first category of such things on our list is movies, which, I don't know, Peter. Should we start with the one
No, I
thing
think
we
we
both.
can.
Oh, I
I
think we can
think
just skip
you.
movies altogether. Oh, okay.
I think you can lay the groundwork. Tell us your
Hmm.
music or your
Music.
movie
Let's not get
consumption
ahead of
this month,
ourselves.
and
Okay.
then I will hop in when it
Hmm.
may be
When
necessary.
I mention a particular thing. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Indeed.
Okay. 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 So the first thing on my list, because I have more than one, is this film called Sentimental Value, and it came out in the big ol' 2025. And this is a Norwegian film. Technically, most of it I think is spoken in Norwegian, and then some of it's spoken in English. And it's about this old actor dude who has these two daughters who's got sort of an estranged relationship with, and he's sort of trying to get them to be in his life again in sort of different ways, while also at the same time bringing in this uh, other girl into their lives who's around their age, who's American and an actress. And the big thing of the film is the family drama surrounding it, but then also you have these layers of like actors playing actors. You know what I mean? Because like in the
Hmm.
film, the characters themselves, at least some of them, act within plays or like films being made. So you'll get like these really unique and interesting moments where the character will experience something. They'll have some sort of drama with one of the family members that will emotionally shake them. And then it'll cut to them like breaking down or just like having some sort of like mental moment. And then it's revealed that it's all happening on like a set for like a player, a film that they're
Hmm.
making. So it's almost like you see how they're channeling their emotions from like one scene in one moment to another. So it's not only like a sort of breakdown on perhaps acting itself, but it's also revealing things about the characters and what they're either going through or not going through, because it's, it begins by seeming like their reaction immediately after to a particular set of events, but it's ultimately revealed to be part of their uh, professional career and stuff. So it's unique and interesting. And the best example of it from this film, I don't want to even reveal because it's sort of a spoiler, I guess. But there's one particular person who plays a character who then plays another character, and the difference between them is quite impressive for the circumstance of their existence, which I won't say, I guess.
No
Um,
spoilers. Yeah.
yeah, just just to, it sounds super vague because if you saw the film and then you heard
It
me
sounds
say that, you
incredibly
probably don't even
abstract.
know what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Still, yeah. Anyways, that's fine though. But yeah, it's a very good film that came out last equivalent years, so it's one of the best from that time period there, and I would highly recommend this film right here.
Yeah. I definitely need to watch that. Did you watch his previous film, Worst Person in the World?
Yes, that
Um,
film is awesome
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
also a very strong one. Very memorable, and just like the tone and the starkness. Uh, yeah, so I have high expectations for Sentimental Value. Definitely looking forward to watching it.
Yes, sir.
Heard just yeah, heard a lot of like. I mean, this director has very like raw kind of uh, depressing takes on humanity and individuals usually, but like he tells his stories in very
Mm-hmm.
um, engaging ways, and like really kind of dramatic tension, like characters that are full of uh, hypocrisies and like really interesting character moments. Um, I'm glad to see that he's doing well still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've only seen those two, and then this other one called Telma. It's the word is
Yeah.
Thelma, but they pronounce it Telma in
Hmm.
Norwegian, and that one's a bit weird, but it's decent. It's okay. Um, I've not seen Oslo, August 31st or whatever other ones. But I would like to someday because he's a good uh, film industry person, creator guy. All right. Next thing I have to take a little trip away from the good shit. I have this one called Dear Evan Hansen from
Mm, mm,
2021, and
mm-hmm.
I saw this film a couple weeks ago, and uh it's annoying and embarrassing, and I don't know the why this was made or who decided to make this, or like I have so many questions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the premise is that like there's this high schooler who moves to a new town. He gets bullied by this one dude, and then he has this therapy session thing where the psychiatrist person is like, fucking write a note to yourself about how epic you are or something. Uh, and
Mm-hmm.
he does that, and then the bully finds the note and thinks that the protagonist is tr- purposefully trying to make it seem like the bully is writing the note to him to be like to like use against him in some way.
Huh?
And so he just takes the note, and then like the day later he finds out that his bully committed suicide and that the note was on his possession when it happened, and the parents think that because of that they were best friends because he the note thing
Like,
to himself started
oh,
with Dear Evan
okay.
Hansen, which
Uh-huh,
is his
uh-huh,
name.
uh-huh.
And so the parents think that, oh, he had this very nice letter to this other kid in the school, so they must have been really good friends. Um, and the situation from there, he ends up liking the dude's sister and hanging out with the family, and it's just like so fucking weird and like such a stupid avoidable situation. Like it reminds me of Rent a Girlfriend in that way, and
I'm getting
that's
hints of
not a
that.
series that you
Mm-hmm.
want people to be reminded of. You know what I mean? You don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be comparable to Rent a Girlfriend or similar to it. I mean, um, and so it's trying to be this quirky and weird youth thing where it's like, oh look how awkward I am at fumbling into this situation. I don't know how to deal with it, and he's just like going from scene to scene lying about like his friendship with this kid who committed suicide to like to his family who's coping the hardest with this uh loss in their fucking life, and it's so emotionally off. You know what I mean? Like I could
Mm-hmm.
see
Mm-hmm.
theoretically, I could see a couple different directions they could have taken it instead. One of them is the pure comedic route, just go full dark comedy, like in Bruges, where it's sort of like a dark, depressing premise, but it's like so over the top, it almost sort of
Mm-hmm.
eventually starts to be funny. Because like there's attempts in this film to be comedic, but like because there's this one scene. Okay, so it's a musical. Also, I haven't mentioned that yet. And it's
'Cause I had heard, I don't know much about this movie really, but I had heard it was a musical. But the way you're describing it, I was not picking up. So I'm like, am I tripping? Okay, good. It is in fact a musical. I'm glad that.
oh my
Oh
god.
wow, yeah.
Well, there's a lot going on with this movie. They do a lot in
It seems like it.
137
Yeah.
fucking minutes.
Hmm.
Um, so it's a musical, and there's no consistency in the rules of the musical moments. Like I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, I don't like musicals because what do you mean they just get up and song and dance? It doesn't make sense. Like I don't care, like whatever.
Hmm.
But like just set a rule and be consistent with it. That's all I care about. Um, so like in the first musical scene, he's like walking around school being like, I'm a shy, nervous guy in the new town and I don't know anybody or whatever.
Hmm.
And so he's like singing to himself as like people are walking around him and stuff, and uh, like nobody's paying attention to him sing. And then later in the film, he's like having a conversation, but he's singing it, and then the other person is just saying words to him. and then later in the film, it's like it's bouncing around to different people singing like to themselves, and then later he's like singing alongside other people. So like sometimes the he breaks out in the song dance stuff on his own. Sometimes it's he's just and like nobody notices, and sometimes he's doing it alongside other people, but they're not doing it, and like I just don't understand like what's happening or not
Why?
happening. Like it's just confusing. But like one of
Yeah.
the it's an attempt at being a comedic moment, and it's genuinely, if it was handled differently, it could be really fucking funny. Where it's he's okay, so he's following the lies. He's creating like he's making up things about this person who he was not legitimately friends with. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so he gets like this other sort of friend at school, and they create a bunch of notes from him to the bully and back to himself, like as if they were written in like the past and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and in doing so, it shows like a musical number where the bully in the past is singing and dancing around about like I love my best friend's MC guy so much, and it feels really fucking disrespectful just like watching that shit, but it has the potential to be just hilarious because it's so out of nowhere, but it's conflicts so heavily with the rest of the film established thus far. So like I do think that there's a weird comedic angle it could take for this whole thing if you just lean away from it, the honesty attempt of it.
Hmm.
Either that, or you could go like the weird route where it's a character study of, oh, look at this weird kid who was bullied and he's taking like revenge out against the fucking family who bullied him, and like he's traumatizing the family with like his lies
Right.
and like leading them along for like a big reveal and stuff. Um, Again, rather than where they end up taking it. So not that either of those premises I just presented will automatically make it a good film, but I feel like that's at least a stronger start than again whatever this tried to be. It just fails on like every pillar of
It sounds like the
whatever
premise
it's
is
doing.
flawed to the start, just like at the
Well, it's very
idea
difficult to
of.
handle because first of all, you're
Hmm.
dealing with
It's incredibly
suicide,
tropey.
and that's
Yeah.
a difficult subject matter to tackle. And then you're trying to like again with the exact moment to moment things that happen.
Hmm.
It's hard to make that feel like earnest. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it's hard to get the takeaway of like whatever the fuck. Like, oh, this is he's learning, he's growing up, he's just oh, this sort of shit can happen to anybody. Like, no, just don't be a fucking idiot and just say it from the get go. Oh, that was a like you get into the psychiatrist if you need to get in to contact with the parents to explain the fucking situation. Like, Jesus, oh my god, it's such an avoidable thing. It's
Hmm.
even more avoidable than the rent a girlfriend situation. I feel like because you don't fucking owe anybody in that situation any like thing to the lies. Just you're just making everybody's life worse by doing this. Oh my god. But yeah, that's my verdict on it. It's like it's sort of entertaining in a way, I guess, but it's also like it just pissed me off for most of it. I want to say.
It's one of those films where like I've heard about it and like people pretty much universally don't love it or like at least find qualms with it. So it's one that I've been meaning to check out, but it's not high on my list. It's more of one that I think I will maybe
If
I'll
I get
see it
to it,
on at
sort of
one
thing.
point. Yeah,
Yeah,
not in a rush though.
like the main thing because it is sometimes entertaining and like weird and stupid and like
Hmm.
it's easy to make fun of, obviously. Um, but like it does feel disrespectful as well. Like if I knew somebody close to me who committed suicide, I would fucking despise this film. Like I would
Hmm.
fucking hate it, you know. So I would not recommend it to people who have lived alongside that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but that's my verdict on that film. Not good, not good. But we do have a good film to discuss at this time, which
To
is
follow it up with
the one that we've both seen.
the one and only Marty
Hmm.
Supreme.
Oh my god.
This is the third, fourth movie from, or I guess this is the newest movie
They
from
broke
Solo,
up.
Josh Safdie, part of the Safdie brother duo that had released a ton of great films in their kind of handful of years that they've been working now. Um, and last year was the first year that they split up. Each of them made their own individual movies. Marty
Hmm.
Supreme from Josh and The Smashing Machine from Benny.
Hmm.
I have not watched that yet. I've been meaning to.
I have. It's okay. It's weird, and it's like a little bit. It's like I don't even know. It feels underwhelming. I want to say
Okay,
that
yeah.
film. It's weird. It's like decent. It's good. It's shot well.
That's
It
kind of how I felt
looks right,
about.
but it's strange.
I watched that Curse, the show that came out a little while ago. That was Benny Safdie directed with Nathan Fielder, and I kind of felt similarly about that. Where
Oh.
it's like it was good, but it was not as coherent as maybe a movie released by his brother in 2025 ended up
Hmm.
being. Marty Supreme, it's been getting a lot of hype, and I'm glad to report that it deserves it. I mean, it's a really good movie.
Hmm.
Um, it's like full of that classic energy that you kind of got from previous Safdie films,
Hmm.
and that uh, exploration of a really toxic main character who's like kind of good but kind of bad, mostly
Yeah,
bad,
he's
and
a
like
likable, but
he's like,
he's a
yeah, you
huge
want to
dick.
root for him, but the choices he makes and the way he screws people over is really a sight to behold.
Hmm.
And this movie, it is paced immaculately. It's really easy to get kind of tripped up and like lost in running from scene to scene because this movie goes scene to scene very quickly, always kind of not leaving or not fully concluding previous elements of the story and just moving on because this main character does the same thing, and it leads to like just a really cohesive filmmaking, film watching experience through elements of that filmmaking. Um, Really loved the soundtrack. Daniel Lopatin, he's uh, makes music under the One Tricks Point Never name, and I love his stuff there. And he's been working with this Safdies for the previous couple movies, and man, he's doing good shit because it's such a intricate and like kinetic and frenetic score, but it's very gentle and it helps kind of keep the pace moving, and just keep you locked in with the film. Yeah, really enjoyed it. What do you think?
Yeah, this film is solid. It's in that similar vein to, like you said, the other films of theirs in terms of the sort of chaotic energy that they
Hmm.
all share. Um, and yeah, this one's interesting because of the main character. Like you said, he's a dick, and he's very ambitious. And what I like about the film sort of is like even when he's on the rise, it seems like he's also sort of on the fall. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
even as good things happen to him, like almost an equal amount, or if not more so, bad things happen to him. But he's like sort of
Yes.
pushes through regardless, and it's both like admirable and detestable in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like a weird effusion of those reactions, at least that I had to
Mm-hmm.
the things that he was going through. And it's a sports film that's sort of set up initially that way, but a big chunk of the middle section's hardly even about that really. I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
obviously his motivation to be doing the things that he's doing is still there and ever present and on his mind, and therefore uh, influencing the route that the film goes down eventually. Um, but like because the Smashing Machine is also sort of a sports film, and that one is
Mm-hmm.
very focused on the UFC stuff. Um, and I mean, it's just more difficult to manage, I guess, versus you have the sports
Mm-hmm.
scenes more like intermixed, or just take up proportionately
Mm-hmm.
less time than the drama and everything else that's going on. It's a pretty long film, and a lot of things happen within it, and a lot of the moments are entertaining and well. handled overall. You get Kevin O'Leary, who's a real
Mm-hmm.
world fucking trillionaire or whatever, playing a rich guy in this film, and he does a really
Mm-hmm.
really good job, honestly.
He does. He does.
Which is not something that I would expect. Like I mean, the character itself is disingenuine, but he portrays a disingenuine person in a genuine way, and I don't know what that
Mm-hmm.
says about either him as a real person or him as an actor.
It kind of
Uh,
feels like he's playing
he's
himself.
probably yeah, it's probably not too
It,
far off from like how he behaves in
mm-hmm.
a lot of real world
Which is a little
situations.
frightening.
Yeah,
But he's supposed to be a bit of an antagonistic figure in
yeah,
this film, um, who is like could be he offers kind of the saving hand to Timmy's character, but also it comes with a lot of baggage. So he's an interesting character. I thought all of the performances honestly were pretty well, pretty great across the board. Yeah, I don't think anyone really stood out. I, honestly, I like Tyler the Creator. I
you
don't
didn't
know
like him
if
in
I
this?
really. He was okay. I just it took me out of the film a little.
Just seeing him.
Yeah.
I love the antics that they get up to though.
I do too. Yeah, that was when, because I don't think this film is as good as Uncut Gems.
Really?
That is my favorite Safdie film at this point. And I was trying to think about why, because when this movie ends, it has such a great ending that
Yeah.
I was like highly considering giving this a 9. But then I was like, I was coming down from the film, and I'm like, when I was actually watching portions of the movie, it just didn't click to me or click as well to me as Uncut Gems, in my opinion. And I thought that was kind of in moments some of the performances didn't fully line up, or just like different elements of like the justification for actions or moments of decisions weren't as fleshed out or as believable, or
Mhm.
I didn't also feel the tension quite as much as in Uncut Gems, which this one is trying to be a little more optimistic, which I did appreciate.
Definitely.
I don't need, another good time or another Uncut Gems.
Sure, it's
But
good that they're different.
yeah, and like I said, the ending is so good, very
Yeah, yeah,
poignant.
yeah.
The whole final act, like the third act, which is when you get your larger sports set piece,
Hmm.
and the entire match is just excellent. All the stakes that have been built up throughout the entire film, just leading to this, and you get to experience the entire match essentially, and all the tension therein, all the drama that comes with just like having the most direct form of competition on screen,
Hmm.
sports 1v1, with everything on the line for one of
For
them at
him,
least. And I mean, I'm sure Endo didn't enjoy what happened, but and then just after the match and the conclusion there is just it's so nice. Yeah, really kind of wraps up very quickly, which I was
definitely.
im- immediately I was kind of wanting more, but then as I was like kind of recollecting on the watching experience, I think it's the right choice to kind of just end it there.
Yeah, like what
On
else do
a
you do
very
after that
powerful
point?
scene. Yeah. Uh, I think it's a good decision, and it's nice when a film sticks the landing and has a great ending. I think it definitely does this movie a lot of favors.
Yeah, I
Um,
think the ending specifically did probably for me raise it up from an 8 to a 9. Um,
mhm,
for the ending also they play a song that's it's a very popular song. It's played on the radio over time.
mhm,
People are probably sick of it, but it like usually when films decide upon these I don't know what
needle
category of
drops.
yeah, big epic needle drops of very popular songs played across time that have been overplayed and whatnot. Usually, most of the time, it's like not really deserved or justified
Hmm.
super heavily, and I feel like the precise choice, at least in this one, for the final song in it, like it does connect quite heavily to not only what's going on in that moment, but the film as a whole. Like I was able to look
Hmm.
up the lyrics after watching the film, and I was
Yeah.
able to like go
I
line by
mean,
line, like, oh,
yep.
that's what it.
Yeah.
This is a moment in this film that relates to that. There's a moment in the film that relates to that line. You know what I mean? And I
The
feel
song
like
in
there's
question
not too many
is
things that.
"Everybody Wants to Rule the World,"
Oh,
and
spoilers.
we're
Nothing
doing
matters. But
spoilers
like obviously the
on
title
song.
alone and the first line
Yeah.
from for the exact like moment that
Yes.
it occurs for.
Mhm.
So
We have an incredibly ambitious and gutsy main character that really wants the most for himself
mhm.
and will do just about anything to get that. Yeah, soundtrack, I thought in general, just all of the needle drops. I watched a few like interviews with the cast and crew involved, and uh, in the ending with Tears for Fear, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. It was supposed to be like initially when he wrote the film, it was gonna end with like a time skip, him in the
Oh.
future with like family sitting at the Tears for Fears concert and listening to this film, and then kind of like having that extra kind of, oh, he did make it, he was successful, and then he's still kind of thinking back on his life. But I'm glad they didn't really do
Yeah,
that.
that could have been
I
interesting.
think
It would have been a bit
it's
cheesier, I
an
guess, but it could have been
interesting
cool too.
brainstorming element to
Yeah.
the film creation process.
No, yeah, for
But
sure.
I guess that's how they got the idea to have, because this is technically a period piece happening in what, 1950, 1960, and the soundtrack is all based around 80s synth pop. Obviously, needle dropping uh, gigs like Tears for Fear, or they dropped a few of those. Big in Japan, I think. Oh no, they didn't drop Big in Japan. They should have. That would have been such a good song to play while you're, I don't know, in Japan maybe.
Yeah, at some point when they're there.
Yeah, missed opportunity. But like I said, rest of the score is really, really good. Yeah, good movie. Glad I
Yes,
could
sir.
get one good movie a month.
A so yeah, once what the fuck was it called? One battle after another has been toppled by. Because first I saw
Mm,
Sentimental Value and I liked that film more
hmm.
than One Battle After Another, but now I like Marty Supreme best
Now
for
you like this even better?
2025 rankings.
Damn. I think I still have no other choice as my top
hmm
one. Top dog. You got to get around to that.
I have.
Oh, you did. Yeah,
That's what I
that's
said.
true.
I said it's been toppled.
I thought you said one battle after another.
That's what I said. Wait, what did you say? Maybe I misheard you somehow.
Which one did you start? Okay, see, it went one battle after another, no other choice, to.
Oh, no other choice. I have not seen.
That's what I said.
I have
Yeah,
not seen.
okay.
My
Sentimental
bad. My
Value
bad.
is the one, right?
I heard you say
I
that,
thought
and
it was
then I was like, no battle after another is what I thought you said.
No.
Just
Yeah, you
automatically
gotta.
because they're both like sentences almost for movie titles,
They
and they're
are
both released last year.
a
So like
lot of
that's
words.
just that's how my brain works. Even though like the two films themselves are very different, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just because like and they sound different too if you say the titles of the film out loud, but they give
Yeah,
off similar vibes.
I get it. I get it. You
Okay,
got to
thank
watch
you.
the Asian one there.
Hey, thank you. Sort of films by race. All
Yeah,
right,
when's Letterboxd gonna get on that? Come on.
bro. How would that even work? Let's not get into it. All right. Well, I got a next one, which is also an Asian film. It's called The 36th Chamber of Shaolin. And this is a kung fu movie. And this is maybe the first kung fu movie that I genuinely really, really like a lot. I've talked about Drunken Master 1 and 2, which I enjoy those both quite a bit. And this one, the 36th Chamber of Shaolin, it actually comes from the same director of The Drunken Master 2, where he himself was like a martial arts stunts dude, expert guy. And that's probably best for the director seat, I guess, in kung fu films, where that's the sort of main emphasis that you're attempting to create or whatever. Um, and this film is really awesome because it's about this dude who like there's this tyrant person government ruling over the county or city or whatever he grew up in, and they're sort of being mean and evil and stuff, and so he flees from there barely, and he tries to train to become a really epic expert in martial arts in order to help sort of overthrow the corrupt government. And so the film is sort of split into three parts there, where it's the first section of him actually in the town, and then him running away, and then the second part is him doing the training stuff. The third part is him sort of going back and liberating the people and whatnot. And it's a really cool film. The almost the main issue for me is that it's too short. Like the training section of the film makes up a huge proportion of it, which I'm totally cool with. I don't think they should have cut down to like a single moment from that, because the like training the scenes in this film are really cool and like really well handled. And they like he goes from like one section of the big training place to another. There's 35 chambers, and he forms the 36th by just being such an epic dude. And like he goes through each one, and there's basically just like a challenge set up that he has to overcome in some way by like having like perfect balance or perfect form in like some very precise technique of some sort. And they're like very convoluted and interesting for any number of ways. And like I just wish this film was like a little bit longer so it could set up the stakes of like the him in the village with the corrupt shit happening, and then also more time with him actually overthrowing the place, because he leaves and he like along the way back he finds like a handful of disciples who sort of like end up respecting and revering him because of his sheer epicness for martial arts. And like I wish there was sort of like more time with that and establishing them to the point where like they were all sort of working together to help liberate his hometown. So it's like I if this film was 3 hours, I feel like it would be an even bigger banger, you know what I mean? But like as it stands right now, it's still really cool and worth checking out. And even just for the training moments alone, it's quite interesting, I'd say. And the martial arts moments, when they do happen, they're obviously handled very well. So you just get, if you like training arcs, this is like Training Arc the movie, you know what I mean? So it's pretty cool though, and I would recommend it highly.
I haven't really watched any, like, not much at all of like the Shaolin kung fu movies or other. I haven't really gotten too deep into the Hong Kong stuntman era either. I need to do my due diligence and get into that. This one sounds sick, though.
Yeah, I don't know. This is probably a good place to start. I haven't seen too many either. I've seen like a couple of the main Bruce Lee ones and a couple of the Jackie Chan ones. So I'm a bit basic with it right now. This is my first like, even though it's still one of the most popular ones out there, it's like a layer deeper because it's not an immediate name people can attach to, because it's not Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan. You know what I mean? And it's slightly older as well. So, but it's fun. Oh yeah, the other main thing that is a difficult hurdle to overcome with not only this but also probably a lot of kung fu movies in general is the English dub. I'm sure I could have probably found a version where they're speaking in Cantonese or whatever. But I don't know. I could have tried digging deeper maybe, but like, I don't know. I just settled on the English dub, and it did make like legit. It did make like the first 20 or so minutes like difficult to take seriously, because if you've never heard dubs, like English dubs for Japanese or Chinese movies at this time, like they feel like a fucking joke. They feel like a parody. Like they're so bad and they're so stupid. So it honestly did make the earlier parts of this film difficult to get into, but somehow I was able to overcome it and able to legitimately like latch on and take the film seriously from there. And it does have a few funny moments, which I guess the silly voice acting leans into a bit more. But like even despite that, I was still able to enjoy the film overall somehow. But if I had to rewatch it, I would probably try to find a not English dub version if that exists, which I would think it does.
Unfortunately, with older films, sometimes it is just tough to get around.
The stupid dubbing of things, yeah. It's a lot more convenient now when it's on the streaming services. I like the way Netflix does it, where you could switch on the fly between them. Like, there's other sites like I think Crunchyroll and Hulu have like separate video sections, so you have to like go all the way into a film and like start watching it, and they'll be like, I don't like the voices of this, so I switched to the other one. So that's always something. It's a modern issue, but it's something, I guess. But that is my films section, so we know Peter only had one, so we can move on.
On to shows.
To TV shows.
Which
I have a couple things.
Yeah, because I remember you talking about some last episode, and you were going to give us your full, in-depth, uncut reactions to whatever.
My full, uncut
yeah.
thoughts. Starting with Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Season 2. So Frieren is considered to be one of the greatest shows of all time for anime. Season 2 is ranked number 2. Where can I see top anime? Is Season 1 number 1? Oh, Season 1 is number 1. So Frieren is taking up the top 2 slots on my anime list in terms of overall ratings, that's a big deal.
That's generational.
That's a big deal.
Obviously, best of all time.
And I fucking hate it. I don't. I'm joking. I don't hate it. I really like it. Not as much as I suppose, average anime viewer, or at least the average anime viewer who goes on my anime list and rates Frieren either season of it. I am surprised and glad, though, that it is rated so high, because when I think of like the average anime fans' thoughts and opinions on stuff, the ones that would reign supreme would be the shonen battle things, at least in America. I mean, in Japan, they like the slice of life a little bit more. But for like the American audiences, they much prefer the shonen battle action adventures, which I love those also. There's nothing wrong with those, but it does surprise me that even if that might be the most popular genre, there's something that lies slightly outside of that to reign as number 1 there. Because the show does have action sometimes, and when it is done, it's handled pretty well. If you don't know anything about this show, it's about an elf lady person who was a part of the RPG party that fucking saved the world and killed the demon lord or whatever. And she's an elf, so she lives for like 100 billion years, and she was traveling around with like people who don't live that long. So the idea is that she is like almost this like mythical figure in the world, as she like goes through time, and like a couple months for her is just like nothing. It's maybe like a couple minutes to us, or like the equivalent of that in like human years. I don't know. But the idea is that she's like going around and hunting demons and whatnot, just trying to, I guess, clean up the world, and doing so alongside some faithful human companion people. And it's a interesting like fantasy slice of life with some drama, some romance, some action. It kind of does a little bit of everything, I guess, which is nice. My main issue with season 1 was that it was all of those things I just labeled it as for like the first half, and then eventually it just kind of becomes like this I don't know, like the Hunter exams tournament arc thingy, which I felt like that was unnecessary for this story. It wasn't really what I expected the direction for it to take, and it felt like sort of out of nowhere. I was a little bit like, why is it, it was so unique from the beginning of it compared to uh, everything else that came before, because it has a very good hook. It has a very good first episode to draw you in. And if I had to be negative, I would say it's like the Oshi No Ko effect. It's that first episode, everybody's like, oh, it's the coolest, greatest, bangerest thing ever, but they don't realize the fall off that it might
Hmm.
have. Again, I would say Frieren is definitely a better show overall than Oshi No Ko, which I may have some updates on that one to talk about
Oh.
later. Um, and uh, so yeah, it just sort of rubbed me the wrong way, I guess, for season one. Season two is about halfway so far. I cannot necessarily think of anything that like stands out to me a whole lot in the second season. If I'm being completely honest, I feel like more things happened in the first half of season one than the first half of season two, because I've only seen there's maybe 9 or 8 episodes released right now, and I've seen the 7 or so. Um, so there's still a ways to go, and there's still a number of things that can potentially be going down, but it's a nice, relaxing show in fantasy lands where nice things happen overall. I guess my other main complaint about it is the stylization, you could call it, of the dialogue and the way characters talk. They're very like monotone. The way the characters are talking, they're very just. I talk like this, and I'm saying words, and I would like
Hmm.
expect maybe a couple characters to talk that way, but it's literally, I feel like every character in the show says words like that. Um, and again, like I sort of want to commend it for doing that, because when I think of anime characters, like just in general, they're like very boisterous and loud and obnoxious and annoying, and like the anime girls are making like essentially sex noises when they're like just doing anything really.
Hmm.
When they like trip or fall over, or when like somebody steals their fucking pencil, or whatever happens in the slice of life anime. I'm joking. I know what happens in those. It's a fucking hentai romance harem, all of them. Um,
All of them.
anyways, but like in so we've talked about and sucked off Wes Anderson and we like his stylized path of dialogue, which is also sort of like characters sort of speaking in a monotone voice, but it's alongside them saying like weird wacky stuff, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it sounds funny, like, and it could be the language barrier also. Like maybe I would like it the English dub more than the Japanese audio somehow. Um, but like it to me almost feels more like a rather than like an intentional stylized Wes Anderson thing. It almost to me feels more like M. Night Shyamalan, where it's like I don't think this dude has had a real conversation with people. I don't think this motherfucker knows how to speak to others. Which like I don't blame him for. I hardly know how to do that either. That's why I have a podcast with my good friend Peter where we just take turns lore dumping each other with the
Hmm.
things we've done in
It
the
makes it
past
much
month.
easier.
So like it's sort of the vibe I do get though from Frieren, which I don't
Hmm.
think too many people think about or care too much of. I don't know if did you read this? I assume you've read
I've read
it.
it, yeah.
Did you watch season one also though?
I still have not watched either season. So when it was first getting all its, hype and glaze, I was pleasantly surprised because I like the manga. It's very good. I don't think it's like one of my favorites of all time, although I
Hmm.
would put it like, an 8 or a 9 from what I read.
Okay.
And I I get the I was gonna say when you were talking about kind of getting your hopes up from having like really good pilot episodes in a season of anime, it you resurface memories of a show. Do you remember? I think it was To Your Eternity that came
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
2020 around.
Hmm.
I remember, like, I think I watched the first episode and I'm like, damn, this is so sick. Or watched the first season. That was great. And then I ended up reading it and man, does it fall off. And I was like, it was just incredibly sad because the first
Damn.
episode is also like way stronger than the rest of the
Yeah.
season.
Oh yeah.
And the rest of the manga is just also they do not know when to end. Like they just it keeps going.
Oh man.
But regardless, I didn't feel the same way about Frieren. I think Frieren continues along. It keeps that same sort of energy and vibe to its mostly kind of humorous interactions between your main trio, getting up to hijinks, and that's really the core of everything. You get your different arcs of, character growth and understanding to let go of things or like how to move forward. I love the world building aspect of elves and really kind of getting to the taking an interesting new perspective on immortality and like long life
Yeah.
and like growing past everything and like what a nightmare that might be.
Yes.
And it leads to great character moments. And obviously I've seen the clips. The animation is pretty impressive for how, like, I mean, you see hundreds of shows released that do not get treated this well with the budget and the attention to detail. It's surprising and kind of it's a positive thing, I think, that this one show and this one manga could like get the reception that I think it does deserve, just because of huge kind of weird conflux of events that got us to where we are today.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned the fact that she's like 1,000 billion-year-old person, and that the story really examines that, because I've seen so many works of fiction try to tackle that.
So many.
And it's a very difficult thing, because in the real world there's not really a a real world example of a person living for hundreds of years, you know what I mean? And like so many stories that have characters like that, they don't legitimately feel like they have lived for hundreds of years, because again, it's a hard thing to examine.
That trope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the trope of, oh, I'm not a child, I'm a 1,000-year-old.
Oh, well, there's
demon,
also that.
Whatever. It's like, but like, it's the
anime
same
especially.
thing where it's just like so surface level. It's all trope. It's no substance.
Yeah.
You're acting like a child. You are depicted as a child.
Even outside of anime.
Let's not get into that deep. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Is was what I was thinking. But that I mean, that's like almost a separate issue entirely.
It is.
Because
but at least with this one, we're getting the trope and having it at least be examined.
Because she is really immature, but also mature. Like
Right.
she sort of flip flops around, like when the moment calls for it, I guess. But like again, like the in fiction all across history, from Japan and outside of it, there's a lot of characters who are trying to be hundreds of years old, and it's I don't feel as though the author legitimately, in a lot of other works, has necessarily given it the most concrete thought as to like what would this do to somebody,
Right.
You know what I mean? And again,
Like
it's
the
difficult to
psychological
find that
aspects.
because there's no real world examples to latch onto, which I may or may not have something to say about that in a thing that I'll talk about in the future, not today, but a month from now, perhaps. But yeah, the Frieren show, it's good and nice, and I will continue watching it, and I like it a lot. Is it overrated? I would not attribute that word to it. I would say I like it slightly less than the average person. That's all I
I think that's
would say. I think it's cool that people really like it a
reasonable.
lot and love it. It's a good choice for the best anime of all time, or your favorite, or whatever.
I was thinking about, she kind of fulfills like a One Punch Man type of role, where it's like she's kind of clueless, but obviously she's like the most OP of all time. So like when it comes down to it,
She's comparable, I guess.
the good guys are gonna win. But it's not quite as played for comedy, although it's more of like a slice of life type of comedy show, lightly fantasy.
I mean, like in this world, since there's still, at least for season 2 is concerned, there's still a lot of the world undiscovered and like unexplored. I haven't really necessarily thought of it in that way, because I mean, for Saitama, I'm like, okay, there's no way this dude would ever die in literally any situation
Mm.
ever. But I'm still like willing to believe that at some point they may encounter something that legitimately threatens her
Sure,
power.
because
You know what I mean?
yeah, she's not like a gag character. She is just like uh, ageless, very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, she nearly is a
What is
god,
she? Is she
and
a
I get what you
wizard? What do
mean.
they call the magic users in this world?
Are they not just fucking mages?
They're just mages. Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I the
Yeah,
the mage
mage. Yeah.
rebranding in various franchises has me all turned about sometimes.
But this show is cool, and I would recommend it if you haven't seen it. And
Nice.
obviously, it's my enemy list's number one, and you know my enemy list has
Hmm.
fantastic takes. I would rate my
I
anime list like fucking rating system of like like user base
hmm
raters people like slightly above Goodreads. I mean, Goodreads is
Yeah,
probably the
yep.
worst.
It's definitely the worst.
It's
My
interesting
anime
because
lists.
the two of those are both worst in terms of like actual website and like navigating it and UI and everything, and
Hmm.
it also has like the worst user base
I wonder if that says something
ratings like
about.
taste system.
Yeah. I wonder how, I haven't been on my anime list in a while, but
Bro,
I have to.
have you not
I'll
been
have to
updating
update.
it?
I'll have to update it for this series that I've been watching. That has
You've
been
been watching a
JJK. I've
show.
still been watching.
Oh,
I
well, you
talked
want to
about
talk
it
about that
last
next?
month,
Because I got
and
that also.
it's still sick. Yeah, I'm glad you started watching because I mean this season is pretty dope. You have to say.
This
You have
show
to
is
say
so fucking
it's
good.
pretty fucking cool.
This
Come
show
on.
is so good. Because I
Yeah.
saw the film also Zero.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that movie's
Prequel.
decent. It's not. It's nowhere near like the peak of that like the any seasons of the show have gotten to. But
Yeah.
like what it
No.
does end up doing is it enhances by the time you get to season the Culling game part one. By the time you do get there, it does enhance like the events going on, and
Right.
especially
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if you don't watch it, there's this character, what's his name, Yuta. He's
You
just gonna
too.
show up, and you're gonna be like, why do I care about this dude?
Yeah. He's like
Why does he
mentioned in a
matter at all?
single line in like the first season, and he's like, "Oh yeah, where is that guy? Oh, we don't know. He's doing his own thing." And then he just shows up season three. Like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah, yeah. I would probably say like the film is worth checking out because it's decent. It's good overall, but like don't go in and expecting like it's gonna be peak Jujutsu Kaisen because probably this season so far it seems to be the. I mean, I don't know. I feel like
Might
that's
be,
tough because like the
might be peak.
previous the whole Shibuya incident is pretty
Hmm.
awesome.
Pretty
And,
sick.
and obviously this one's it's not even done yet. This is only part one. We're only halfway through
Right.
part one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but this the show so far it's really cool. If you like fights, if you like supernatural fights between OPS dudes and power scaling systems and stuff, then like this is probably the best show of the generation for that. I'd say
Yeah.
because they like balance the fights so well and like each one feels so different like even from like episodes in a row from having it like where at the beginning of near the beginning of this one you get like the Itachi Uchiha as clan
Hmm.
murder like
Hmm.
just basically Kill Bill style and then
Literally Kill Bill style.
you get that after that you get like a pro wrestling match where like two characters are pretending to beat the shit out of each other
Hmm.
in front of like a bunch of people and then immediately after that you get like a JoJo-esque fight where like two
Yeah.
allied people are fighting an enemy that has like a convoluted power and they're like trying to puzzle solve their way
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
defeat them like it's handling so many different styles of fighting and they all of them are just handled like exceptionally well and the animation is obviously very very good as well the what is it is this Mappa or is
Yeah.
this somebody else what did they got in trouble because they overworked their
Yeah.
people
I
in
don't
the
think this is helping.
yeah no I think they're
It's
still
like,
gonna get overworked
damn,
as fuck.
like sorry animators, but if you're pumping out this quality,
Oh,
then
it's so
well, I
good.
guess if you don't get to see your family for months on end, well, I mean, not my
Damn.
problem.
Damn.
No,
Yeah, that's
but
tough.
they all credit to the artists because they are cooking.
I hope they're
The
doing well
animation
legitimately
is
because
really
this,
good.
yeah, the creation that they have worked upon
Hmm.
is it's quite awesome.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I can't remember, but regardless,
No.
this the
Something
which
about the
has been your
different
favorite? Oh
fights.
no, yes. Are you all caught up, or are you a
I
couple
might be an
episodes?
episode or two
Okay,
behind. I think I'm
because
one
I
episode
think
behind at least.
this specific, like the episodes that are coming out are specifically because you're talking about all of these, like, oh, we have the Kill Bill moment, oh,
Hmm.
we have the WWE, oh, we get a Phoenix Wright moment.
Really?
Like, this is the episodes that are coming out currently are those moments. So
You get a
I'm
trial and people are on
yeah,
trial and they have to
I'm
kill each
excited to
other or
see your
something?
take on it because it's a
Ooh.
fun moment. This whole season is going to be very cool. The Culling game arc is, I mean, it's probably my favorite arc in the manga, and they're adapting it very faithfully, very well. Super cool. Yeah, glad they're still killing it.
How far into the manga is this arc? Like, is this the midway point or is this near the end
This
already?
is near the end. Yeah,
Okay.
we get like one more arc after this, maybe.
That's probably another, just one season or two, you think?
It depends. I mean, it depends. It could be a fucking two movies or some shit.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
that's
know.
true. I
I
wouldn't
don't
be
know what they're
surprised if they
planning.
did part one and then part two and then like a film and then another season of the show or the other way around.
Who knows if they want to do what Attack on Titan did? I mean, I think it was successful, uh, but yeah,
I
we'll
still
have to
haven't
see
seen the fucking ending to the Tag on Titan anime. I think it was like on the
as
last two
well.
episodes. That was sad
Yep,
because
yep.
they drew it out
They
for
drew it
so
out
long.
for
I mean,
fucking
they
four
literally drew it
years.
out
It's
for so
insane.
long.
It's so nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just an
But
unfortunate situation. And also the manga didn't have the greatest ending. That's
I
also
know.
unfortunate. Which
I
again, apparently
can't.
the anime fixed in some ways, but I never
Yeah, I thought that
got around
the
to checking that
anime
out.
is one of the better animes to ever recommend to someone. It's just a great package, and they stuck the landing, better than the manga did. But like we said, it's just like the drawn out 3 year plan to release like three
Yeah,
episodes. It's just
that
like a lot of
sucks.
people stop watching, and I think that's understandable that you never get around to it because it's like, oh, how many episodes are left? Is there still one? Is there two? Like, when is it coming
Yeah, like
out?
you have to like check
Uh,
back if there's a single episode once every like couple of months. Like, oh, is that a thing that happened? Oh no, okay, I
yeah,
guess I'll wait a few more weeks or something. Like it's weird. Um,
yeah, it was very weird. But
so did you have any
do you
other
have any more?
shows? Because
I have
that's the
one more to talk about.
ooh
I can
ooh.
talk
I
about.
have two more,
Uh,
so
all right, if you want to
I think I need to say more
talk about
words.
about your
All
favorite
right, all right,
animes
all
of all
right.
time.
All right. Here's the so my favorite show to air this season not is Oshi No Ko
Oh shit,
season
no.
three.
Hmm.
Um, and so I've had my personal drama with the show, which has been exposed and put out on the internet already in past episodes, where I was like commending the show at first and like, oh, this is, I don't like parts of it, but it seems to be going in a good direction, and then like the day after I record that, I realize, oh no, I fucked up, and I actually don't like where the show is going because I did not see a particular episode that aired by that point where it revealed a certain thing that happens with the main character that I don't like, where it's this dude who's a doctor and then he has a patient and then he has another patient who's pregnant and then him and the one patient with cancer who's like a 10-year-old girl and he's like a 30-year-old dude, they both die and they're reincarnated as the babies of this idol person who he was helping do the birth with. Um, and so, like, again, that's a fun, like, interesting premise or whatever. But then you get the whole vibes of the girl patient when she was in the hospital. She had like a crush on the doctor. Now she's the twin of the dude, but she doesn't know yet. But then I think she's figured it out at the end of season two. I don't really remember. And then you also got the fact that it's this dude who's 30 or something, probably around that, or 20 at least, years old as a doctor, and then he's reincarnated. And then he's like now 15 years old or some shit as like a child actor, and he's dating other 15-year-olds who were not reincarnated,
Mm-hmm.
who are on their
Mm-hmm.
first cycle of life, and they're 15 years old, and he's the sum age of 15 plus 30 something. So that's a little bit weird. That's a little bit odd.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really the biggest fan of that moment right there. And season three, it's still like I get like such a mixed set of emotions with each. season of this because they're doing good things and they're doing bad things, right? With the biggest thing about season two was that it was mostly focused upon the entertainment industry as a whole, which is like it is a thing that the show does uh, very well, but like it when it season two specifically, it takes such a big uh, leave from the main premise of the show, where like the dude, his whole purpose in life is to figure out who killed his mom and then take revenge upon them, and like so much of season two is not about that. There's like maybe one or two episodes that season dedicated towards that. Um, in season three, they are a bit more focused, I would say, on that. Um, but I do think they balance that more with the entertainment industry and character drama better in this season, to the point where I do like this more than season two so far. You know, maybe we'll have another
Hmm.
situation where we'll come back next time like, I fucking hate this show. I don't like what they've done. Um, so I mean, we'll see about that, I guess. But so far, it seems to be going in a slightly better direction. Again, I'm a little bit hesitant to even say that to begin with. You know, it's like karma or whatever.
But
Um,
you have to give credit where it's due.
I'm
Maybe.
yeah, yeah, well, so I'm entertained or whatever, right?
Okay.
And I
Hmm.
like again, I do think the because they're focusing a little bit on just Japanese TV in general and how sort of like corrupt and manipulative the people in control of the TV stuff can be, and also how just obnoxious Japanese TV is in general when it comes to like their game shows and stuff like that. Um, so it's another interesting critique of another part of the Japanese entertainment industry, where it's already focused on like plays and idols and YouTube streaming and stuff like that so far. Um, and it continues to examine those things through the lens of interesting characters, I guess, and the um, when the murder revenge plot stuff happens, it's interesting enough. So far, almost sort of like season three a little bit. Well, season two I did not like as much. So again, it seems to be going in a better direction. We'll see
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't have any updates, then that's just how I conclude. Like
Yeah.
my takes now would
Yeah.
just be the same as when the season ends. So I mean, we'll see if I have an update or not. Um, but yeah, I have one more. But Peter, if you want to take it away, unless you had any remarks about Oshi No Ko season three.
No, thankfully, I've not done
Oh,
my due diligence and checked that out. But instead, I don't remember when the last time I talked about this show, but uh, in the time since then, the most recent and now recently final season has come out at the end of last year, and that being Smiling Friends. Um,
oh,
so,
yeah,
yeah, season three came out towards the end of last year. I never got around to watching it, but I started watching that now as the news just dropped that the creators are like, yeah, season three, that's the last one. We're not interested in keeping it going past that. We're gonna just like leave it there, which is sad because I love the show. It's so funny, so original, really disgusting and artistic and fresh and creative. But I'm also glad that they're not being forced to keep pumping out content for the machine
sure.
when it seems like that would be very antithetical to the show and the creatives involved. So I respect what they're doing, and I hope that the success that they found with this show can kind of trampoline them into all the success in the world. I really want to see what these guys do in the future, and like with the tools and resources that are going to be available to them now. So sad to see it going, but smiling because of the friends we smile along the way, some shit like that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely want to see this show at some point, and uh, like it is sad. I feel like to for the show to already be over, because again, like I haven't even
Hmm.
seen it yet, but I'm aware of Oni
I
plays. I
know.
know the
Hmm.
vaguely here and there the stuff that they've made. I've seen like random highlights and shit like that.
Yeah, you see
Um,
clips everywhere. It's a very
mhm.
clippable
Oh yeah,
kind of show.
they're a funny
Um,
group and whatnot.
Animation is all top notch.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just very creative, very fun, very fresh, weird. If you at all like, I mean, I don't really watch like cartoons or shows like that in
Mhm.
general. Like, I have to imagine like people who like this also probably like other Adult Swim, Rick and Morty would probably find fans here, all other kind of adult cartoons. But I haven't watched them. I should probably do that. Like,
You haven't seen
yeah,
which one?
like any like
Oh, any of those
Adventure
that you just
Time, Rick
listed?
and Morty. Like,
Oh,
I'm thinking like, what
I
is
thought you had.
no, I haven't watched them.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
I think I've seen most of Rick and Morty. I don't think I've seen the most recent season or two. But that's a interesting show in terms of the example of like what the fandom, the example that they
yeah, that's true.
set or whatever, where
Yeah.
it's sort of obnoxious and cringe or
Hmm.
whatever.
Hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah. Probably subconsciously part of the reason why I haven't checked it out at this point.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, it the people who represent
Hmm.
the
They're not sending their best.
show, it's we could call it gatekeeping, unintentional gatekeeping
Hmm.
or something. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I want to see Smiling Friends at some point. So, anyways, the last show I have to talk about is actually I probably like Jujutsu Kaisen so far the most out of the four that I'm watching, but this other one that I'm seeing is a strong contender as well, and it's this one called Fate Strange Fake. So it's another Fate show, and the premise of this one, I guess, through its subtitle of Strange Fake, is that it's another game for the Grail to get one wish, and there's the summoners and servants, and it's a battle royale thing. But things are a little bit weird this time because it's in America, and a lot of the because I think previously pretty much all of them have taken part in Japan. I mean, fucking apothe, fucking whatever. They're apocrypha. That's like medieval European shit, I think. So I don't know. I guess maybe they just take place in random places sometimes, but I feel like in Fate Stay Night they establish it takes place in Japan every time. So I guess just in the newer things they want to diverge a bit away from that. Anyways, uh, this thing is really really cool because it feels like they're taking every single rule set from like the main sort of initial Fate Stay Night series and just like twisting it in every place. Like every single relationship and dynamic between the masters and servants feels like a completely unique take on like the premise of their existence. And the show itself, I do feel like gets enhanced quite a bit if you are already aware of Fate stuff. Like at the very least, if you've seen or have read Fate Stay Night, I would probably say I'd recommend that doing those things, one of them first. It's not necessarily to your enjoyment to be had with this show, but I would say it's enhanced because your setup. I'd say it's a solid sequel to Fate Stay Night as a series, where like as a sequel you have certain expectations going into it, and with like each new reveal, each fight, each scenario, at least for me, I'm sort of like surprised at each corner, at each turn of the event. So I think it's really really solid overall, and I look forward to the rest of the season. Again, it's harder slightly to get into because it's part of like this whatever bigger convoluted series. I would say again you could probably just jump in and enjoy it, but I think Fate Stay Night, it's that solid base foundation of setting up like here's this slightly more normal sort of story going on, I guess. Because the other thing about this Fate Strange Fake, it's the pacing is super quick and it does not hold your hand in explaining any of the terminology like Fate Stay Night does, especially the visual novel where you're just taking all the time in the fucking world for the characters to literally just have expositional lore dumps upon you at different parts of the game to like explain the long ass convoluted rules of the world and stuff like that, which I appreciate and I'm cool with or whatever in those moments. But it definitely it goes a lot quicker. So if you're not into not understanding what the fuck is happening, then probably start with the Stay Night thing. But if you're cool with that, I'd say it's a good jumping in point. Which I don't know if that's what other fans of the series would agree with me or that. I mean, I'm a relatively newbie of the Fate series thing because I've only played the visual novel recently. A long time ago I watched the Unlimited Blade Works anime because I thought that was the remake of Fate Stay Night, but they're actually two different stories. They're actually different timelines.
I think it's not
But I
uncommon
already
to be confused about
yeah.
different
I've
base
already explained that I was
properties. Yeah.
misinformed by a mutual
Yeah.
friend of ours who was like, "Oh, just
Mhm.
watch Unlimited Blade Works. It's the remake, like fucking Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood." Which I mean, that example. There's also the people who defend or enjoy certain aspects of the
Mhm.
original more so than
Both
the
are good.
show remake. Yeah, both are good.
Mhm.
Obviously, I could not list all the differences to compare and
Yeah,
contrast
exactly.
them, but I'm aware of how people feel about Des. But anyways, Fate Strange Fake, it's a very good show, airing this season, and I would recommend it.
Hell yeah. All right. On to games.
Hmm.
I've quite a few to talk
Yeah,
about.
you go ahead, man.
All right. Because last we left off, I was finishing up Elden Ring base game. I did so. I finished base game and DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree. Both of them, very good. Very, very good. Very, very, very good. Like, man, uh, the first time I played through Elden Ring, it was a good game. I think like I said last time, the balance of the game is just the least polished. It's just because it's an open world game. It's hard to
Hmm.
balance around everything that a player could do. Um, and they had workarounds, but I think it was a little rough around the edge the first time I played it. Going into it knowing that, I just enjoyed my time. The world, what can be said about the world? I've already said it. It's fantastic. It's one of their best and obviously most tangible worlds that they've designed. But man, their artistry and their design over the different biomes and everything is just it is really one of one. DLC just really cements that. Shadow of the Erdtree is it's a cool place, very very cool place. A lot of cool new biomes. It was getting a ton of hype for being way more vertical, and it is. There's like distinct biomes that you can see at like the very beginning of the game, but you won't have access to it just because it'll be too high
Hmm.
or like just like miles below you that you're like, how can I possibly get there? And then later on, 20 hours into the DLC, you'll be like, oh, what's this cave? You'll go into a cave and then, you know, 15 minutes later down like after like three boss fights, you're going to be in this new kind of location that you're like, oh wait, isn't this what I saw at the very beginning of the game? And it's just great how they kind of create that cohesive world. Um, the bosses, I think, the way they balance difficulty in the DLC, because it's difficult when people can come in at however whatever level they want.
Right.
Um, Essentially, they took a design page out of Sekiro, where essentially there's a single resource that you will pick up in the world that will govern how much damage you do and how much damage you take. So that's all that matters. None of your levels from the previous levels really matter at all, besides just getting base stats. But I thought that worked fine. I was always kind of maybe slightly over leveled for some of the bosses just because I was continuously exploring everything I could before doing any of the bosses or like before truly exploring. So there's elements to bosses that I probably shouldn't like. I don't think it was that hard. In general, I think the final boss, Radon, he's a bitch. He's one of the toughest bosses they've ever made. And this is post nerf. Like they nerfed him a few times.
Oh shit.
So I can't imagine. I probably wouldn't have been able to run him, honestly, because he does have a single attack on that. Man, you know it when you know it, because it literally drops my frames like 10 frames.
Shit.
And I'm like, holy shit, this is actually the toughest boss of all time. He's attacking my PC. But it's still, yeah, great experience.
But that's
Loved
actually a genius Metal Gear Solid.
You know, exactly.
Like a fucking
it's like
boss
it's
that
wait,
lags
it's
your
meta.
computer.
Wait, he's actually just like, oh fuck, what do I do? Like, or he like turns off your
You have to like go into
it's
your
like, oh,
system
what the
settings
fuck?
and like turn off ray
Yep.
tracing or something
Yeah,
to
actually,
like to
like,
make it good.
don't let Hideo
That's funny.
Kojima and Miyazaki.
Don't let him
like,
design
we
a.
cannot let
Don't let
them
him design a Dark Souls
create
boss.
the most toxic game of all time. Yeah, thankfully they don't collaborate more, because for what we got, Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree, just about perfect in terms of balance as they are. Wouldn't really change anything. Yeah, loved it. Glad the DLC stuck the landing and helped create like it's a fun to have the reason to go back to games. I haven't usually done that, but like with the Liza P I did a little while ago, and this is just like it's a game that I knew I wanted to play again, and having the excuse to go back with the DLC.
It seems to
just
be the
makes
most replayable out of
I think so.
out of the series, right?
I definitely think so. Just the vast build variety, which it is there in other games, but with the open world also just makes it more engaging. It's not as linear. You can take it how you want, and just like explore it to. The more familiar you are with the world and the items within, the easier it is to kind of create a build or kind of deal with the world however you want, as it comes up, instead of just blindly exploring. So it kind of serves that in having a really unique first experience, and then also being able to cater to people who want to go through new game plus 11 or whatever that people
Yeah. I'm sure there's probably a randomizer mod for it also too.
Oh, thousands.
If that makes it better. I don't know if you've ever done one of those.
I haven't. I normally
I have either.
don't love doing that stuff. I have done specifically those for like Pokemon, which I think it's a little different.
Oh
just
yeah.
'cause, I mean,
I think I've done
they're
that
already
also
random.
once, and I encountered like Mesprit and like as like
Yeah,
a starter
exactly.
or something.
Yeah, which has a certain appeal.
Yeah, I mean, and that they break the game, and this it probably could also, but I just think in terms of all the items in worlds, like it could be good. Like if you played so many times, it could get like
right.
oh, I'd get
It'll
this
give
thing
you a
at this
fresh
point, or
experience, so
maybe
I
could-
have to check everything. Yeah.
Because I wondered, maybe not necessarily for this game, but for other games that have randomizer mods, if there's like a healthy way of doing it where like it won't give you like in the early game, it won't give you an OPS item. It'll like give you a different item of like the same tier or something like that, or like maybe one tier higher if you could categorize them like that. You know what I mean?
I think most randomizers that I'm aware of have, tools
Settings for
that you
that?
can tweak. Yeah, you can tweak the files
Okay.
and kind of get into the specifics of like where things are. It depends, because some are set up through like kind of different files on your computer that are harder to access. But for the most part, it's possible to tweak specifically how you want to randomize your game, which is it makes it a little more fun to do like specific challenge runs, or like kind of change things that you don't want to really just completely randomize everything. You want to tailor it a little more.
No, yeah. All right, yeah, cool. I might play this at some point soon. The other thing, I was considering Dark Souls 3 as well for my first, because supposedly that's an easier one. It is obviously more traditional of the formula.
That would be interesting, because I played through them all in order, and Dark Souls 3, I feel like in particular is like it's very nice as a conclusion to the trilogy. Um,
In terms of
but
like
I'd
the
be
story.
interested. Yeah, but like the thing is like the story is so esoteric and
Sure.
vague
Yeah. Yeah.
and like not there at all. So like I can fully imagine just like playing through the third one and just like having a great time as like a standalone game because
Hmm.
it's maybe my favorite gameplay wise out of
Oh damn. Really?
the original three.
Yeah.
Um,
Because for most games, I feel like going in order of just release date is probably
mhm.
best. Um, but for me, when I have the big struggle with these types of games, I feel like going in
Yeah,
difficulty
yeah.
order is almost better.
Too much gameplay in these games.
I fucking hate gameplay. You know me. Hey, you know me. You know I'm about to be hating on the gameplay of the things I'm about to talk about.
Hell
But we let
yeah.
you say another one or two because I only have two in total.
All right. I after spending close to like 150 hours in Elden Ring, I wanted a shorter
Damn.
experience, and so checked out this smaller project, indie project, Cloverpit. I can't remember who the devs are off the top of my head right now, but
Panic
it is
Arcade Future Friends Games.
yeah them. Yeah, they haven't done anything else I'm aware of, but this one was came across my radar through uh, Northern Line. He's a streamer, um,
Uh,
and this is a roguelite in the vein of Balatro, where instead of poker, it's slot machines, and it follows very similar kind of build constructions to a Balatro, and you get that same kind of dopamine rush as you're seeing all
mhm.
the numbers climb higher and higher, and each of your relics or items, I think they're called Lucky Charms in this game, are procking it, and you get your very specific builds to flesh out. There's also like a loose escape room element to it, where you're kind of locked in this room, forced to gamble, and there's like a voice over the intercom that's kind of being like, "Oh, you have to gamble, or you have to hit this amount of money, whatever."
Mhm.
Um, and it's fun.
It's
You kind
like
of
Kaiji or what is
yeah,
it?
it's
Anime.
like as you kind of do better in slots, then you'll uncover more tools, more relics, and slowly you'll pick up ways to or like tools and clues to get you out of the room. Um, and it's a short game. There's not as much post game content. Obviously, it's like a fun enough game that if you just want to gamble and like get a run in, it's pretty satisfying. It didn't hit quite as you know originally or like fresh as Balatro, in my opinion. And it feels kind of tough to be comparing them so often, but
Hmm.
really like that is just my gold standard for roguelites in general, and like specifically these kind of more engine building kind of roguelites. But this is a fun one that I would recommend if you're looking for it. I think it's like $5 on Steam or something like that.
Damn.
It's pretty fun, pretty cheap, and well worth your time. I think it only took me like 20 or so hours in order to
Oh,
finish
okay.
the whole thing and like get all the uh,
I thought it was gonna be
basic.
shorter. Okay. Yeah, $5 for a solid 20 hours. That's a good deal.
Yeah,
Seems to
and
me. Um, except I like my games longer.
mm,
I like my games to not be just 20 hours. I like it to be like quadruple that or some shit. Um, because there's this series that I've mentioned at least once because I played the demo of Trails in the Sky first chapter, which is a remake to Trails in the Sky FC. Um, and I enjoyed the demo of that. I might return to that game at some point, but I was hoping to return to the series in a legitimate mainline entry of some sort because I've only beaten one of the games, that being The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel. So I
mhm.
ended up playing its sequel called The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 2. Um, And this was really fun going back to this sub series here. The first game is a uh, you're at like a military school, so you get like some slice of life, high school epic antics and whatnot, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's uh, done alongside a turn-based RPG system. So you could compare it to the Persona games, which I'm sure that, at least Cold Steel 1 took some inspiration from Persona 3 and maybe 4 if that existed by this point. Maybe. Um, but the first game I like a lot. The main issue with the first game, which persists in this one, is the pacing. The Trails of Cold Steel 1 is like maybe the slowest game I've ever played. It's really cool. It's really fun. It's got a good turn-based battle system, which gets expanded in the its sequel. Um, the going around the school and going from, because you're basically like in the special class, which gets like you basically go on field trips where you help people and do side questing shenanigans and like main story stuff as well. Um, and I think I touched upon it in when I was talking about the demo for Trails in the Sky first chapter, where the thing that the series does really well is like world building through like in general through the plot and whatnot, I guess, but also through like the NPCs, how they're very interactable, and through like after like maybe almost every story event, the every single character will have like a new thing to say, or they'll be in like a slightly different spot. And a lot of that is like it can be inconsequential, but even from like the first game, I was able to gather in my head and like uh, remember NPCs to the point where I get back to this game, I'm like, oh shit, it's fucking this dude who I remember somehow. Which for most video games, I don't remember the NPCs like either by name or by appearance. You know what I mean? Like even fucking Mass
Absolutely.
Effect, there
Hmm.
was like a dude showing up in 3, and I'm like, wait, I know you? I don't. Do I? But I also like I played those games like I like waited a year to play them, and this I'm coming back to it like after 5 years, and I'm remembering
That
these
is
dudes.
impressive.
You know what I mean? So they leave an impact because I mean that's part of the also the issue with the pacing, at least in my experience, where I was literally going around and talking to like fucking everybody
Hmm.
for a good chunk of it in both the sequel and the first game. Um, which I do think they get the pacing a little bit better in this, because the whole thing in the first game is that you're going in school and you're going back between like the field trips and like free time class hanging out with people, and then you're going to like a main big dungeon thing, and then you're also when you're out and traveling to other places you're like fighting a bunch of dudes and whatnot. um, and in this game you're not at the school at all because the fucking there's war and you're like participating in it. And it's a really cool interesting like separate way to it's like a good example of asset reuse, I'd say, because it's pretty much all of the exact locations you've already visited from the first game, but like the context of you visiting is different enough, and like the exact situation is different enough to justify you going back, because like I mean where the fuck else are you gonna go? You know what I mean? It's not like one of the sequels where it's like, okay, you fight in this part of the world and then you like do all the cool shit, and then that part of the world story is over, and then the sequel you're like, okay, now my party's going to this part of the world and we're taking it over and liberating or whatever. Like
Hmm.
this is their fucking like home country that they've lived in and they've traveled around before, and now it's being overthrown, and so they're going around liberating uh, from one place to another. And it's a very big game. It's a very long game. There were like maybe 5 separate places where I thought it was ending. I'm not joking. Like there's this big ass final fucking dungeon place that the whole game has been leading to, where it's like a every 5 floors or however many you're like fighting against the bosses that you've most of them I think you've already fought once by that point, but they're even more powered up, and like it's all leading to like the final seemingly the final confrontation, and then it pulls out like, oh, this is now the final boss you're fighting, and then like everything seems to be over and you're good, and then there's like another final fucking dungeon after that with another final boss. I'm like, okay, surely it's over now, and then you go and you fucking play as these other two characters from like another sub series and play from their perspective in some other like final dungeon thing, and like it's crazy. It just would not stop. I was sitting there like, and maybe like 3 different nights. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna beat this game tonight. Nope. I'm beating it tomorrow. Nope. All right, I'm beating it tomorrow. Nope. Like Jesus, like it just did not fucking end. I was so like, I mean, I was there for it, I guess, but I also,
Yeah.
after a certain point, I did sort of want it to end. Like by the time I was on like the second final dungeon, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna fucking breeze past this shit because I think I mentioned it a little bit in the demo Trails of the Sky first ever blah blah blah, where it's got that when you lose you could retry the battle from the start while also weakening the enemies. And
Hmm.
in when I talked about the demo, I may have mentioned that how like that could indicate bad balancing in
Hmm.
gameplay and stuff. And I remember for Trails of Cold Steel 1 relying on that a decent amount because the regular enemy encounters were so fucking easy. And then I would get to the bosses and they would like almost one tap me every time. So I was just like, all right, fuck this. I'm going baby mode or whatever,
Hmm.
where I just wait, make all my characters wait, and then let myself die, and then I weaken enemies and retry like 3 times or whatever, rather
Hmm.
than taking the real route I should have taken, which would have saved me time, but it would have made me look like a stupid baby person. Would be swapping the main difficulty option to easy. So yeah, I beat the game on normal, but I did beat a handful of bosses on like baby fuck mode. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm. Hmm.
so, like
Like a
I
save
just
file.
got fed up by the end. I'm like, okay, I already don't enjoy too much like the boss gauntlet where it's like, okay, I've already fought these fucking dudes, and now I'm doing it again. Like it's so many video games do it. Like Metaphor
Yeah.
Refantasio
Yeah. Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
A couple of Zelda games have done it. Like
How many hours do you put in this one?
80 hours, I think.
Okay, so it's like the gauntlet's hitting at hour
Oh
70.
yeah,
And you're
oh
like,
yeah. I was
okay,
like, I'm ready to be
okay,
done with this. And
yeah.
then they'll fucking like two more dungeons after that. I'm like, oh my god. And between, dude, but you do the final dungeon, and then like it's the next day. And I'm like, okay, I'm expecting there to be like a little bit of. I'm gonna walk around the school campus town now that we've liberated it. Spoiler alert. And
Hmm.
I'm just gonna hang out with people and talk to every NPC, and then it's gonna roll credits or whatever. But no, it like drops you in on another day, and it's like, okay, here are these quest objectives that you gotta hit, while also doing the things that I was planning on doing. Like, wait a minute, what? It's giving me these side objectives after the game's already done. What is this? This game is crazy for doing that. And then obviously, however many, like an hour or two later, I realized, oh, there's another dungeon. Huh. That's interesting. Which I definitely think. Here's the thing. I do think that the second final dungeon should 100% exist. I'm not necessarily convinced that the third one should, but the second one I think it definitely should, because you get a lot of party members in this game here, and none of them are available at a singular time. So that's what the final dungeon uh, allows for, because a handful of the characters you only get for like one very specific part of the story also. So like the final dungeon allows you to use whatever like team combination things you could dream of or imagine. It just so happened that like I'm like, I'm don't care, I'm done, I'm gonna get this shit over with. Which, you know, if that's the takeaway I'm having, there's probably something I could have done. Like I could have taken a
Hmm.
break from it. But like I took a break from the first game and then I didn't play it for like a year or more. You know what I mean? It's just that like,
Yeah.
but again, that was that back then versus me now, where I'm completing games more often, I guess. But I don't know. I could have done that, but I just wanted to end it, just to let me end it on a slightly high note. So like again, the pacing, it definitely I think is better in this, because you're going from one place to another in a bit of a quicker motion. The hub that you go back to is a lot smaller than the first games, and so that makes a good percentage of the things I'm doing a bit quicker, and I was also not as like uh I wasn't always literally talking to every NPC after every story moment in this, because it would take even longer, because as you liberate one area to another, you like eventually in the second part of the game you get like an airship and you could fly around from like each part of the map to another. So like theoretically you could like go through a part of the story and then go through each town and talk to fucking everybody again, and they would have something vaguely different to say, and like that's cool. That it would turn my 80-hour playthrough into like 100 plus. You know what I mean? Like that would be something. But this is cool, and they expand the gameplay turn-based system of it, where it's I don't know how to describe it. It's not one where it's like everybody has the same like turn cooldown thing. It's one where like the exact ordering of allies versus enemies can be determined sort of on the fly as you use certain moves that increase their delay or make your party members quicker and stuff like that. And like along the like outline of the turn order, there's like different things can be applied. So like, at 4 turns from now, not necessarily on this character's turn, but 4 turns from now, there's like a critical hit guarantee. The 5 turns from now, there's going to be the character who starts their turn on that will get like will heal like a percentage of their health and stuff. So it's like the main gameplay comes from like you manipulating the turn count to give you an edge in combat based upon those effects that appear in it. And it's pretty fun, honestly, for a very good chunk of it. Again, it's just it's a lot of battles. It's a lot of fights in this JRPG game, which, I expect. And I definitely enjoyed in this. I do think they could have taken out a decent chunk of this game, and what would have remained would have been still a solid experience. I wish to play more in this sub-series, though. I think for 3 specifically, people are like, you should play these handful of titles in like the overarching series first, because there's I think 3 has like a bigger crossover between the things. So I might do that, or I might just say fuck it and jump right in. Because that's the other thing. We need more unique perspectives, right? We need the Silent Hill 2 original to the remake. We need the Silent Hill 2 remake to the original. The perspectives on these discussions. We need the Dark Souls 1, 2, 3. We need the Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, whatever's 30th one is. Sekiro, I don't know.
You have to be the one who plays Bloodborne, because I can't.
You don't like Bloodborne?
I don't have a PlayStation.
Oh, damn. That sucks.
Unfortunately.
Is that the only one that's still locked to that? Is Demon Souls still locked to PlayStation?
Nope. Demon Slayer is accessible now on PC. And I mean, I guess this.
Is it right stuff? Does like Sony own Bloodborne somehow? Specifically?
Yeah. There's something complicated with the reasons why it's not getting a remastered and it's not getting any other release. I don't remember why. It might have something to do with like you said, rights, or just the fact that the masters of the game are weird. But yeah,
well, that's shitty.
It sucks. But word on the grapevine is that the emulation for it is getting pretty good. So hopefully soon.
Because I mean, yeah, like I was about to say that, like just fucking pirate it, like because that's not on you if like the rights or whatever can't.
Right. Yeah.
Like if it's not on modern systems and the for whatever reason, if it's a matter of they don't care, or if it's a matter of the rights or the fucking like it's not on the consumer. Like if it exists, and they don't let you buy it and spend your money, then just fucking do it. Whatever. They're not losing money. They're not gaining money. You know what I mean? Like it's on them. Anyways, that's The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 2. I'll play the 3rd one 5 years from now.
Nice. You got to conclude it. All right. Couple games I want to talk about here are, I got into like a saw there was a Steam sale for puzzle games, and I'm like, damn, I should
Mm.
pick some of those up. And so I did, and I picked up one of them was The Case of the Golden Idol, and this one is they're both kind of shorter games that I want to talk about. This one is more in line with. I mean, I'm saying this only because I don't play too many puzzle games, so this is my only kind of point of comparison.
Hmm.
But I played through Oberdin, the ship one a while
Yeah,
ago,
yeah.
and
Return of
this
the
one reminds
Obra
me of that. Yeah,
Okay.
where you're kind of given snapshots or scenarios that you can kind of it's like a point in time, and you can explore that point in time through a few different pictures. It's like a you're given just like a 2D environment, and you can go from slide to slide and point to pick to put together a sort of picture of what happened at the moment of essentially there are 12 deaths, and you're trying to figure out a few things. Um, Essentially, there are two modes to this game where the first one is you're just investigating all the clues, and you're clicking on things, you're clicking on notes in
Hmm.
the environment, you're clicking on people, looking in their pockets, trying to figure out, oh, are they saying dialogue? Who are they referring to? Because you're essentially clicking on every word that is highlighted in the game. So whether that be a keyword in a diary or
Hmm.
like a word that someone says or a note from someone, and you're kind of putting together this index or this glossary of keywords. And then after you're done with your investigation portion, you get to go into a separate window where you sort of it's like a fill in a blank. So you're given a sort of scenario where it's like blank executed blank at blank in order to blank whatever. And so
Hmm.
you're using those keywords that you uncover through your investigation in order to try and fill in those blanks and try and piece together who are the people that you're trying to figure out, like who are the people that are being referenced in the fill in the blank aspects, and then also try and figure out what is the overall story to the game, because it is a game and it tells a fairly cohesive story about essentially uh, there's a discovery of a golden idol, and hijinks ensue. There are deaths related to it over the course of uh, multiple years, and you get to see the way that history shifts over the course of the different deaths, and from each kind of scenario to the next. It's pretty fun figuring out, ooh, have things changed? Have the people changed? Or what happened to the other people in the previous scenarios? What are they up to now? Um, and then it just makes it a very fun kind of experience. Not too difficult, although you're not really gonna get 100% concrete grasps on any of the fill in the blanks. There was always like one blank that I'm kind of up in the air about, but you can sort of use context clues and deductive reasoning, and you can kind of brute force it too, because when you get all but two of the fill in the blanks correct, they will give you a notification. So if you have uh, essentially two wrong, and you can swap out one of them, and it'll tell you, oh, you can't have more than three, or you're not at all close. So it's kind of hard to explain, but you can deductively force the game in order to kind of put together the clues if you're not
Hmm.
100% on certain names or certain keywords that you're trying to get. But regardless, this is like a 5 hour kind of experience. Very
Okay.
fun for like a shorter playthrough. You're just trying to kind of
Hmm.
engage with your, I don't know, detective mind. Yeah, I do really enjoy puzzle games. I don't play too many of them, but I played through a lot more as a kid, and they remind me sort of those point and click adventures that I used to play way back when, putt putt golf kind of things.
Ooh, I love them.
Yeah, so good. And this definitely scratches a similar itch, but it feels more it feels more mature, feels more
Hmm.
intellectual, because you get to actually kind of stretch your brain cells a little bit. in that same lane, I played through Strange Horticulture, which is another kind of short indie game title, also puzzle based. This one is more like it's going to be a weird combination of things, but it's similar to Papers, Please, and then also like a Papa's Freezeria kind of thing, where like you are essentially in charge of this plant store as a horticulturist that you I think received through and passed on through I think your grandpa who died or something like that. Classic stuff. But you're essentially a newbie horticulturist, and people are coming to you with plants they want, and you have essentially a book full of plants, but you only have like names and sketches, and the sketches are not really 100% useful sometimes. Like sometimes they're great, and they will like show the petal of the flower that it's named, and you can kind of put two and two together because you have certain plants in your store that you have to be able to kind of pick out and give to your customers, because otherwise essentially you get like three strikes, or you have to do like the stakes are very low. You have to do like another short puzzle where you have to like put together a broken plate. There are kind of interesting story elements to the game where similar to Papers, Please, there's a narrative kind of happening as you're trying to give people pots and plants, where they'll give you some dialogue, and you kind of take that and kind of register that as you go from day to day. There's also elements to it where the people who visit you will kind of bring you news or give you maybe clues for where to find other plants, and you get to kind of explore this map, which is essentially just clicking on, that's like a maybe 15 by 20 grid of squares, and you get to go to the different coordinates and try and investigate. You kind of have to do your detective work there, and like the customers will be like, oh, I was over on Mount whatever and I saw this weird flower, and so you have to go to the map and find the mountain there, and sometimes it'll be like, oh yeah, I was there for the evening, but then I took the river south for a few miles, and you kind of have to put that in your brain and be like, okay, so if I find the mountain on the map, then I go 3 dots down, that's where it'll be. And so it's fun in that sort of deductive reasoning, and scratches the same kind of itch as the Golden Idol for sure. I think I'd probably rate them the same, honestly. They were both kind of fun games that, I don't know, it's just shorter games that I didn't want to stress too much after spending so long in Elden Ring. I wanted to get a few
It's
more
nicer
games
to
in.
check out some bite-sized games, which was this one also around 5 hours?
Yeah, exactly. And you can go through it much quicker. I tried to. There are hints in each of these games that you can use if you're ever struggling. I didn't use any of the hints in either game.
Damn.
I don't really know
He
why.
beats
I mean,
puzzle games on the hardest difficulty.
yeah, like, oh, so difficult. I don't think either of these were as difficult as like Papers, Please or Oberdin.
Okay.
But both of them are fun in their own way.
Yeah, nice. I'm glad that you covered these because like shorter games that are even less than 20 hours are like way more difficult for me to be invested in. You know what I mean? Like I need that time spent in the
You need
world with the characters of the story. Like if there's a story or not.
What's the golden path for you? Is like between like 30 and like 60 hours? Because I know you like your 100 hours.
Between
like sometimes that's a little too much.
110, you know.
Yeah.
Between like I'd say like 50, 60 hours is a solid time for me. But again, I don't necessarily want that
Every
always.
time. Yeah. I get it.
Just like, if the next game I'm about to talk about was 80 hours, I would probably not like it too much. But since it's not, I do find myself enjoying it. I like Fire Emblem. You like Fire Emblem. We've established this in the past before.
We have
We've also
indeed.
established that I have a thing where I've not played too many of them in total. And every single Fire Emblem game I have talked about on this channel so far are ones that I've gone back and replayed again for like the 10th time or something.
Hmm.
From Engage to Awakening Fates and even Warriors. I guess replaying a part of that. So I decided to, you know, check out a game in the series, a title that I have not previously played. So I busted out the Wii U for its virtual console, where I bought
Wii U.
all of the Fire Emblem titles on the Wii U back when that was a thing. Which
Oh,
there
okay.
was three of
What?
them on it.
Okay.
Um, so specifically, the Fire Emblem game that I checked out is called Fire
Oh
Emblem.
God.
Fire
Yeah,
Emblem
yeah.
7. Fire Emblem the Blazing Blade, as sometimes it's called. I
Oh
prefer
shit.
the subtitle of Blazing Sword because
Hmm.
FE6 is called Binding Blade. And so to just call FE7 Blazing Blade, like you're using blade in both of those, it's two words.
It
The
is
first
pretty
word
tough.
is
Yeah.
B, so they're both BB, versus if you use sword instead, it's BS. I understand that somehow it's a less accurate translation. I don't really care. I'm calling it Blazing Sword. That's what you're seeing on the screen. I don't give a shit. Okay? I'm not calling it the Blazing Blade. It's Blazing Sword. I don't care. And anyways, this to me seems to be Fire Emblem in its maybe most basic form. Not to say
Hmm.
there's no nuance or complexities to its gameplay systems or a learning curve to figuring out what's going on with it. Not to say that it does know things uniquely, wholly to itself, but it does feel more primitive to the things I'm used to. And I have to preface by saying, again, this is my first time playing it specifically, which is relevant because the difficulty modes associated with it, there's a pretty big difference between them
Hmm.
because I played the Elliewood campaign since it's my first uh, time playing it, and the
Hmm.
Elliewood's campaign is much easier than Hector's. And then, so once you beat Elliewood's, you unlock Hector's campaign, which adds a few more chapters to the game. And then once you beat that, you get the hard mode version of the Hector's story. So, like, I could have uh, emulated it instead of playing it on the Wii U, and then got a save, like, downloaded a save file from like somebody on the internet to unlock Hector hard mode from the start and just play that. Um, from what I understand, Hector hard mode is considered to be one of the more difficult Fire Emblem runs in the series. I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
So I didn't want to just jump straight into that. So I decided to take the Elliewood path, which is kind of butt fuck easy. Like I
Yeah.
was using
Yeah.
most of the weaker trainee units, and I still found myself having a very simple time through it. Yeah, it's this game. It's still interesting, and it still holds up really well. I think it's a good video game overall, just not necessarily the best in the series. It is a lot of people's intro into it because it was the first released internationally, and that has the effect of when people like think of Fire Emblem in general. A lot of
Yeah.
the
That.
fans picture this game. This is
Yep.
like the thesis that defines what Fire Emblem is or should be, and stuff like that, which comes with its own problems because I think where the series goes from here, I like that each game is different, right? I like that. I'm cool that Fate's borrowed a lot of things from Awakening, but it does so in a unique, different way in terms of gameplay. Obviously, the story sucks. And I like how the gameplay of that is very different from Engage, and they're all fun, you know what I mean? And because of their differences, it makes revisiting each of them that much more refreshing, and to play one of them after the other and have a like you come on with still the same expectations. I'm gonna play a Fire Emblem. I'm gonna play a fun strategy tactics game thingy, but still have a different expectation specifically for the exact version of that in terms of like the game that you're playing there. So again, this one's like the most basic. In the future games, there's like the whole some games that have the pair up system. They got class changing, which was introduced in like what, Shadow Dragon or something. You got the class changing. You got the fucking emblem shits and engage. You get like more complicated and like to me more interesting stuff in future installments. I'm cool in the older games where it's just like, here is this dude and this is what they do. This is their thing. If they're born an archer, they will not change. They will become a sniper if you promote them. That's it. That's all they do. It does end up leading to like the imbalance of, okay, if this person starts as an archer in the enemy phased focused game, then they're gonna suck because archers can't.
You're never getting levels, yeah.
1 or 2 range. So I you know, and that also enhances the differences amongst them. How some are like this and Birthright are more enemy phased focus, where the enemies are like weaker, so it's better to like just have a couple of strong dudes take up a bulk of them on the enemy phase, versus like Engage and Conquest, where it's a more player phased focus game. Like again, I like those differences amongst them, that and that aspect sort of contributes to that whole thing there. As for the story goes, I do like it quite a bit. Again, you could maybe call it basic, but I think it's a lot of fun overall. It's so you start with Lynn as like the main character, and she's got 10 chapters, which are essentially like they're all tutorial maps, really, and they're really easy, but there's 10 of them. It's a really staggeringly high amount, and like as far as the story that's happening in that, like I'm cool with it, and it enhances to the point where you meet up with Eliwood and Hector, and you're with their groups for a little bit, and then they meet up with the Lynn's group, and it's I think it's really cool overall, and I love how they separate the groups, and how like you encounter when you're with Lynn, you have a couple of party members who end up in like Hector's group at the start of his sort of story there. And oh yeah, there's also the fact that the player is like sort of a character in the form of like a tactician. It's not full like Awakening Robin or Chris. It's not like an Avatar situation where it's like a playable unit. You could like match up with the other characters, but they are in the story, and it creates like some weird silly moments. Like it almost feels like fucking Dora the Explorer, where like Eliwood is talking to me and being like, what do you think about this recent event that happened? Yeah, I agree, it was fucked up, man. Like I don't know if I really need that in this strategy war game necessarily, but it was honestly kind of nice though at moments, because you would like you would go through Lynn's campaign and they would talk to you and be like, oh, you're such and such, nice to meet you. Yeah, just fucking lead me anywhere. And then you would meet up with them again in the Eliwood and Hector story, because there's like a year time skip or whatever. And they'd be like, oh shit, it's you. What's up? How you been doing? Yeah, feel free to guide me or whatever. Again, it's nice to be working with you once more. So like, that shit's nice. I have to say, I enjoyed that as well, I guess. What else was I gonna say? I don't think I had it in my notes.
Yeah, I mean,
I do have a feeling. Yeah, what?
I'm a fan of this game. This was,
Yeah.
like you said, this was my first game.
Really?
'Cause way back when I was trying to get into Fire Emblem, I did my research and I was like, well, which one should I play first? And for a lot of the English audience for Fire Emblem, this one was it, because
Yeah.
Fire Emblem got like a huge amount of publicity through Melee. Really, is like Martha
Yeah,
and like
before
Roy.
Melee,
Yeah,
the U.S. had no idea
64,
what the
right?
fuck Fire Emblem even was.
Yeah,
They saw
we had
Marth, he was
nothing.
speaking only Japanese and Melee. They're like,
Yeah,
"What the
and
fuck
it's
is this
Sword, and
dude?"
we're like,
And
oh,
Roy also.
maybe I'm interested. And so they finally got Fire Emblem 7 to release, and so it was my first one,
Hmm.
and I 100% agree. It is like the most vanilla Fire Emblem, and like it is my association to the name Fire Emblem now, just because it
Sure.
was my first one, and you get like all of those archetypes. You hit, your lords, your army. It's like all of the different characters are like epitomized in this one. You have your veterans, your
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 Red
two,
Knight,
your
your
yeah, your Red
Red
Knight, Green
Cav,
Knight,
and
yeah,
Christmas Cavaliers or whatever.
yeah, yeah. So and your axe units, your dancers, your dragons. It's all
Hmm.
here. And I mean, I like the characters. I love Hector, Eliwood, and Lynn. The main trio are all
Yeah, Hector
great.
is
They have
so.
good
I
humor.
love Hector.
Hector is one of my favorite characters in all of Fire Emblem. Um, and yeah, I think it's just a great introductory game, honestly, for a lot of people. All of like you said, it's like the Eliwood route is pretty easy. It's like
Oh yeah.
it's not too difficult. None of the map clear conditions are too tough to parse out. It's
Hmm.
nothing like you don't get any crazy exploits with like your warps or anything that you like are gonna be
Yeah, you cannot
kind of
necessarily break the game, but like you
yeah.
don't really need to because
You
the
don't
enemy
need to.
stats are so
Yeah.
like ass. Like some enemies are walking around with like 3 strength and fucking 0 speed. It's like, oh okay, I just kill you, I guess.
Yeah.
You're just my dart fodder. You're just
And
feeding my dart.
in
Who's
that
the
way, I
pirate?
feel like there's not room for like the depth that I really love from some of
Hmm.
my favorite Fire Emblem games, or like
Right.
that's like why, like honestly, I don't I'd probably rate this on par with like Engage, because I get very different things out of it. It's like Engage has that excellent gameplay that I really like playing, but the
Hmm.
story I thought was so forgettable and mid.
Sure.
Whereas like for me, this like binding what do you have it, binding blazing sword? Uh, it was always blazing blade for me. But
I don't care. I added the
yeah,
videos. It says
yeah.
sword on screen.
Oh, sorry. The Blazing Sword, Fire Emblem the Blazing Sword, is, I think, it's not my favorite story, but I got a lot out of the story just because it's my first and my probably the
I think its
most
story is solid. Honestly,
familiar.
it's
It's like
quite nice.
it's very standard and well paced.
Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't get
there's like it
crazy.
is tropey also because it has that whole like Fire Emblem
Extremely
parent
so. Yep,
shenanigans.
yep, yep.
And it's a prequel to FE6,
Right.
so like that main ending just sort of sets
Yeah,
up FE6. It's like here's the main villain of it. Go play that game now if you haven't. It's like, oh okay.
yeah, yep. And it is fun because I played through 6 right after. I'm pretty sure
Oh
I
really?
played through all these different
Because that one's
games.
still Japanese.
Yeah,
Every single one that came before this, except for FE1, it did get like on the Switch. It got like a timed fucking version of it, which I
oh really?
guess got
Yeah,
officially localized. But all the other ones, 2 through 5, have
yep.
still been Japanese only. So you have to emulate and get the fan localization.
Yeah, 4 and 5 I had to do that for, but then because I played through the remakes for 1 through 3, didn't have to really deal with that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Still waiting on that FE4 remake. When's that happening?
Oh my
Intelligent
God.
Systems. They've had it done for 10 years. Rot it in the
And
vault.
instead they keep
Bring it
fucking
out.
making new fucking 3 houses. Are you kidding me?
Bro, fuck
I'm
that
kind of hyped
game.
for it
It's the
actually,
worst
but
game in the
I
series.
don't.
Why are you
What
making
are we
a
doing?
sequel to
4
Three
houses
Houses?
now? The fuck?
Bro, you already had 4 houses. You had the sewer rat people.
Yeah, what happened to 1 and 2? Well, we never. Well, do I need to play 1 and 2 if I'm playing through 3? What the fuck? Yeah,
Um,
good.
oh, since it's older,
Hmm.
I want to say the Tellius games started doing this, or maybe Shadow Dragon. I don't know, but still by the GBA. You're unable to just like press the fucking X button and see like the lines of like, oh, here's all the distance the enemies can move, and if you
Oh
want to
yeah,
mark
yeah.
specific enemies to lock their movement range down to
Hmm.
keep people out of it, um, you have to like manually go over each enemy and press A, and then like see how many tiles they can move, and then whenever you do any other action, you just cannot see that anymore. So it was really annoying, and it takes up honestly good chunk of the time I'm playing the fucking maps. I'm like checking the enemies ranges and shit. It's like it seems like in hindsight such an
Mm,
easy, such a simple, streamlined fix to the point in the future games. Because again, Awakening was where I got my start, and in that game they had the you press the X button and this pink outline shows all the enemy ranges and whatnot. So it's just like a very nice, very convenient tool to have, and to go back on that. Like again, it's not the biggest deal ever because most enemies in this game are not super threatening. But like some of the bosses are a little bit bogus, and there's some bogus to be had with like the bolting atoms, which are the ones that's like a billion range that the
hmm.
enemies have, where like it
They're
just dealt
siege
so much
weapons
damage.
essentially.
It
Yeah.
like dealt way more damage than anything else, and it was fired
Hmm.
from like 10 tiles away. It's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I guess I'll kill myself then. So that was a thing.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't. This was my first one, so I don't even
Sure.
remember that being a problem. Just because I had never had
Yeah,
the
yeah. You never
quality of life
experienced how good
feature.
it could
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But there wasn't, and I don't even remember it being a problem. But
Did you
I
play
know
only
now, like if I had to
Eliwood's
do that,
story? Did you ever go to
yeah,
Hector's?
I didn't do it. No, I never did any of the harder runs
Okay.
through when I was doing fucking 13 games back to back,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. You only did the normal shits.
Yeah.
I'd like to do Hector at some point. I don't
Hmm.
know if I would pirate it and just go straight to Hector hard mode, or if I would do the Hector normal mode first,
Hmm.
or what. But I do get the vibe of like, oh, I probably would rather replay Awakening or Engage or even Fates like 5 more times each before I go back to this game
Yeah,
once.
of
You know what I
course.
mean? Because it is that much less replayable. Not that
Yeah,
there's no
yeah, yeah.
replayability at all, but like the other Fire Emblem games that I'm so used to have
It's just the
so
quality of
much of
life
that.
features offer so much. Like
Yeah.
it just makes the game better to play
Hmm.
through various different aspects.
Yeah. Um, couple other random things is uh the whole prep screen situation is like so disorganized. I feel like
Hmm.
it's like unintuitive because you have the prep screen where you can your options are to view map, view win conditions, uh, manage inventory, which is really annoying, and then save the game. And when you go into the view map, you could look around at everybody, and then to switch the initial positions of units, you have to like press out of that and then go to formation and then swap dudes. Um, Versus like in the newer games where it's so much more streamlined, where you could see the map on like that initial pause menu, and you could look around, and then also while also viewing the map and seeing where all the enemies are at, you could also swap the positions of your allies. It's not a whole separate menu you have to exit and then go back into. And then like the whole uh I don't know, the trade system with the convo was
Yeah, yeah.
it's a very smaller thing. It's just slightly more annoying in this for the initial uh, prep screen thingy, which was not a super big deal. But like the weirdest thing was like you could save on the prep screen, but then like when you go out of the game, and then you go back in like the next day or whatever, it'll be like your option to continue is to restart the chapter. So you go in, you select that, and then it fucking plays all the cutscenes again up to that point, which I mean you can just skip, but it's still something. And then it'll bring you back to the prep screen again, and like your things would have been saved. Your units are in the same formation you left them in. The items that they have are in the same slots that you gave them to. It's just weird. It's like you saved all that shit, but you couldn't just bring me right the fuck back here. Like
Hmm.
you're making me skip all these cutscenes again. Not that it's a big deal. It takes like maybe 10 seconds, but it's like every time. Like I just didn't get like understand that. Like to me that was weird, but I'm sure most people playing are just like, I had another day in the video gameism's life. I don't care about this. I'm not gonna let this silly random thing get let my day down. I'm not gonna let this affect me, but it affected me. So I have to say it. I have to mention it in this podcast thing. Because where else am I gonna in my life ever admit my feelings, my
Exactly.
grudge against this very small particular thing, That probably took as long in my total life as it did me explaining it right now. I have to say it on this show. There's no other way. So that's a thing. One other random thing is the combat animation settings. It's a bit more unique in this. In other games that I'm used to, you could either turn all of them off or you could turn most of them off and just keep like I think there's two separate settings. It's like combat animations and then whatever utility animations or whatever, which is just healing and dancing. You could turn off separately because those are a little bit less exciting and interesting. Excuse me. And in this game, you could customize it to your heart's desire or whatever, where you have like two separate main animation configurations where you could set them on path 1 and then set them active to that, and they'll be active on the first set of combat animation presets that you have. And so like I did that in first in order to turn off the dancer and healing animations because I didn't want to see that. But then the problem that has is once you have the preset to 1, then every single new character you get is going to default to being off for some reason. And I don't know why they decided to do that, because I would like get a new character. I'm like, oh, okay, I cannot wait to use them in this game that has characters that I like to use to fight. And they would attack, and I would like not see what the full like motion of them doing that. I'm like, what do you mean? What's going on? Why didn't I see that? It's because they were fucking turned off by default for some reason. Why did they decide it that way? Put them on 1. Put them on fucking 1 where everybody else is except for the healers and the fucking dancer. You're giving me an axe, dude. I want them on 1. Don't make me go to the menu again and scroll down to find them and then set them to 1. Just fucking do it by default. So I ended up just turning them all off. But after a certain point, I'm like, I don't give a shit anymore. I'm tired of this. So that was silly. Because in the future games, it's another streamlined thing. Because eventually they realized, oh, most people either want all combat animations turned off or just the healers and dancers specifically. So that's what they did eventually, and it's another quality of life thingy, I guess you could say. But I did enjoy my time with this. Of course, overall, it's a good game. I would recommend it. It probably is still a good, solid starting point, even though it is at this point like this sort of midway through the series in terms of number of entries now. Awakening is a good place to start. I would even say engage to a certain extent. Obviously, we've explained that the story is not the greatest, so if you're expecting that, then don't. But Blazing Sword, what's nice about it is that it's simple. It has a solid story. It has a solid cast. And especially Eliwood's mode, I would say it is a good introduction to the series. So I don't know. Maybe it is the best because it has that strongest balance of simpler gameplay and also a decent story and whatnot. Because people care about that, and I understand, and I do as well. I mean, I played fucking Trails of Cold Steel, which is the story of the game and expositional NPC dialogue the game. So, I like story. Okay, I like gameplay also. To set the record straight, we were joking last time, and this time I do like it, and I enjoyed the gameplay of this. So it was cool, and I will theoretically revisit Hector, either both normal and hard or just hard. We'll see. Who knows? But it was cool to finally also check off. Oh, here's another Fire Emblem game.
One of the old ones, yeah.
Rather than like maybe 5 of them in total.
This one is probably the most coherent tie to like the old era of Fire Emblem. Awakening is definitely like the intro to the new generation.
Yes.
And then this one is like it epitomizes the older era, the original era of Fire Emblem. Although, I mean, if you're really getting down to it, then it would have to be one of the first 3 because those are the only ones, or first 4. Those are the only ones that were worked on by the original director.
Yeah.
And then
what's his name? Coda?
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. That sounds right.
Shit.
But regardless, good game. Glad you finally checked it out.
Yes, sir.
And after your 7th playthrough of Engage, maybe you'll check out some of the other ones.
That's probably what will happen.
Maybe. Depending on how you're feeling. All right. A couple more games to talk about on my end. First one, Schedule One. That's that sim game where you're playing a drug dealer. My brother was
Oh,
trying to get me to play it, and I eventually checked it out because it was on sale. Essentially, uh, it's just, you're growing weed, you're
your
selling
thug
weed.
life and it
You're,
out.
yeah. It's in early access. It's pretty fun, honestly. It's kind of cozy. It's pretty low
Hmm.
key. Stakes are not very high. It's all like kind of weird,
Like they're not very
cartoony
high as a
graphics.
drug lord.
Yeah, but that's it's kind of
Because it's
it's
weed, it
honestly a
chills you
cozy
out.
game. You're just taking your it's chores day by day. You're
It's a
waking
slice of
up,
life.
you're watering your weed pot, you're letting it you grow, you're making sure it's
Okay,
got fertilizer, you're
sure.
going to the store, you're buying some pots, you're buying some grow cages, you're making sure you have uh, little plastic baggies that you can package your finished product in. You're going about town. You're meeting your neighbors. You're giving them free product if they want, and if they like it, hey, maybe they'll give you a call back, and you have a customer now. And then, oh, as you meet more people, and as you get your drug empire really cooking, you get your different dealers that you can have work for you. So now instead of you going out to your customers and giving them all your product, you just let your dealer handle it while you worry on expanding operations. And why just stop at wheat? Why not maybe get a little lab cooking up
Hmm.
somewhere? You get your and why you start off in like an RV. This gets blown up. So instead you're in like a shitty kind of motel and it's not very big. You need more space. So what do? You have to invest in businesses. You have to invest in real estate. You have to have your legitimate businesses to launder money through because you have your other real estate areas that are just used for, well, cooking meth. So in La Cocaína, it's definitely has that kind of element of constantly growing, expanding,
Okay.
and it's like a factorio element to it where you're trying to min max your avenues of financial gain.
Hmm.
And so that's by, well, if you're going to employ dealers, well, you have to pay them, but you have to make sure you already have the financials in order to be able to support that. Because if you don't have enough customers, then why are you going to be paying a dealer when you should just be running the routes yourself? The game kind of forces you into these kind of decisions, and it's all in this kind of uh, fun way. It's like it's not very serious. You can run away from the cops for the most part. You can also just like beat them up. There are weapons in the game, but like there's nothing's
It's
lethal.
GTA.
You can shoot your own customers, steal the money, steal the weed that you gave them, and then they'll be back tomorrow and you can sell the same thing. So it's like I don't know if that's because it's like an early development, early
Sure.
access game,
Yeah, we'll
but
have to see if they that stays in the
yeah, it's kind
1.0.
of fun just messing around in the town. It's pretty well realized. You get to explore your different regions of the city. Certain regions are locked out because you don't have enough, notoriety or clout essentially. So you have to expand your network before you can get to the higher access ones. And those people have higher requirements for their product. You need to grow better weed or grow better, to cook better meth. It's like, it's all kind of incrementally expanding and getting better at creating drugs, which, it scratched the itch. Um, I don't. It's not one of my favorite games of all time, but it was definitely enjoyable. And you can play with four other people, or four people total, and you can kind of grow an empire with others, which I imagine would be more fun. Um, yeah, yeah, not much else to say about it. Not a super in-depth game, especially because it's still in early access, but surprisingly fun for what it is. Would
So
recommend if you're looking at.
why is it called Schedule One? Because that implies
Um,
that there's a Schedule Two.
Schedule one is, I forget what drug agency classifies these drugs, but Schedule one is like the
Uh,
most highly criminalized
Epic.
and like most illegal drugs or whatever. Which I think
Okay.
weed is technically no longer Schedule One, but
It's Schedule
for the
2.
purposes of the game, you have to have
It's considered
mass.
one in this
Yeah,
universe.
yeah. There's
Because
only
this
three
this game
drugs that you
takes
can
place in
make.
2013. Back then, it was Schedule 1.
Exactly. It's a period piece. Um, then the other game I want to talk about, one that I just finished up yesterday, is a bigger game. One that I have conflicting feelings about, and that game is Black Myth Wukong.
Oh.
This is a game that came out 2 years ago now.
Uh-huh.
It's the one based on Journey to the West,
Hmm.
Sun Wukong's tale of kind of large Chinese mythology, like very kind of weird and strange, celestial and cosmic, and it's a Souls-like, but it's not a Souls-like because you don't like lose. There's no resource that you lose on death. There are the sign up kind of bonfire slash checkpoint stuff, and there's a ton of bosses, but in the strictest sense of the words, it's not quite a Souls-like. There's
Okay.
no leveling up your character or your stats, but there are skill trees that you can unlock different moves and stuff like that. So in that way, it's more akin to like a God of War, that the more recent ones, the Sony God of
Hmm.
Wars. And man, there's a lot to say about this game because it is an incredible effort. The polish here and the production is incredible. All the art and graphics looks fantastic. My computer really can't run it, so I can attest to the lower quality graphics still look great. And the the whole art design of all the levels and the design of the armor and the bosses and the different creatures, all really great stuff. Really interesting, obviously, ancient Chinese elements to everything where you don't really see that represented a whole ton in Western gaming. So glad to see that represented in such a cool way. My qualms start to show based on the combat. The combat is, I mean, it's what you're doing the entire game. This is kind of marketed as a Souls-like, so you're fighting bosses and they're hard. And there's just something about the combat that took me a long while. Like, there are 5 chapters of the game, and it took me until like the third chapter, the fourth, to really get a handle on the combat. The first two, I felt like I was severely underpowered. It just felt awkward. The something about the dodges and the latency and the latency between your inputs not coming out well and making it feel really awkward to play. It feels like you were getting caught in attacks that you shouldn't be. And also, there's an incredibly weird aspect to this game where it's fairly linear, but the game looks like it's way wider, and so you
Hmm.
have your kind of you have your rocky outcropping here, and you have your large stick on the left side, and it's like, oh yeah, those are the boundaries. But if you don't automatically know that when you're in like a new arena or something like that, then you might expect that, oh, you could just jump around it because you can jump in this game. But no, that shin high piece of stone right there, that's the boundary. You can't jump past that. You can't explore past there. Even though that area down there that you're looking at, you can walk there if you go around the corner. But there are 1,000 invisible walls, and the
Oh, okay.
terrain is just, the terrain pissed me off,
It's laid
especially
out in
early on
such
in
a
the
way where it
game.
makes you think you could just go straight there in a certain direction, but you have to take the exact path or something.
That, yeah, and it's even worse because there none of the boss arenas or many of the boss arenas have uneven terrain. So you're running into these invisible walls and you're just dying on them. You're getting caught. You can't dodge out of it because you're getting forced into the corner by the boss. It just leads to some really frustrating moments. And early on, before you're leveled and you have skills to deal with all this stuff, it feels like you're just getting beat up for no good reason. But as you progress through the game, if you're willing to stick through it, which I think it is worth it, just because the quality of, like I said, the cinematics, the art design, the world design, it's all really great. It's definitely not on par with like a FromSoft game in terms of world design and like level layout. It's just much more linear. Like I said, you have your kind of different paths that you can take. And the interesting aspect is that in each chapter, there's essentially like a secret level to each chapter where, depending on the side quests that you complete during the chapter, you'll gain access to like a secret level, like a zero point 0.5 level, and you usually gain some type of reward from there that makes the final boss of that chapter a lot easier. So the game is tough, but not as difficult as, other Souls likes for sure. It's probably one of the easier ones.
Okay.
But like I said, it gets better as it goes on. As you unlock more and more abilities to kind of flesh out your combat systems, it makes it a lot better. You get to the ability to get more powerful pieces of armor, where this armor system is somewhat akin to Great Berserker Kazan that I was just talking about, where you have your set bonuses that you can utilize in order to get unique benefits. And for the most part, the build design is going to come through the set of armor that you end up picking, because each of them play very differently. And then you kind of tailor the skill tree that you have in order to fit that play style. And that was what I had the most fun with the gameplay, is kind of theory crafting build based on the unique aspects of the armor. Unfortunately, I wish you could like save a loadout, because luckily you can just refund your skill points infinitely. You get to kind of build however you want and experiment with that. But because certain bosses are really kind of tuned to specific play styles, it would be nice to kind of be able to switch between builds, especially because I had already created them, and like done the process of kind of playing through both, but you need to respec every time that you want to kind of change what skills you have. So it makes it a little annoying, even if both kind of builds that I ended up playing were a lot of fun. So would be nice to have that. Besides that, every aspect of the game is super polished, great soundtrack. There are these really interesting music videos, is what they're called, at the end of each chapter. But essentially they're just like really well animated, like stylized kind of little episodes that kind of flesh out the world, give more artistic depictions of usually kind of knowledge of the original Journey of the West novel, and like depictions of that, because technically Black Myth Wukong is like a soft sequel to that story, where technically you're not playing as Wukong, you're playing as the Destined One, which is, just like another monkey figure.
He's not related to like the main monkey dude from
He's from the same mountain, and he's trying to fulfill, the classic. He's trying to link the flame. He's trying to he's trying to become Sun Wukong essentially. And so he has to set out on his journey and find the scattered relics of Sun Wukong, which when he died, they scattered over the world. So you have to find each of those and then become him. The story is kind of fun. It's sometimes the cinematics can be kind of long and wordy, but like the quality is there, so it's still pretty cool to experience. I wanted to like it more. I really had high expectation. I was still giving it like a 7. It's still a good game, especially towards the end once you have all of the systems online. I imagine like a New Game Plus run through would be way more fun, but also probably overpowered as fuck, honestly. So I don't know how they balance it.
If they scale the bosses up.
Yeah.
Or not.
Because like you can get pretty busted builds towards the end, by just like stacking effects on effects. They give you so many tools, probably too much, especially at the beginning. It's just way too much to keep track of, and it's hard to kind of grasp what is actually useful and what's just bullshit. Like, how much should I actually be speccing into these certain aspects of my build? Because they give you like it's like 8 different tools that you can use at any time, and you can kind of spec into each. But early on, you're like, well, do I spec into all of them, or should I focus on like one or two? Spoiler alert, you kind of want to focus on like one or two and like make that your bread and butter and build around it using your unique equipment and armor. But it takes a while before you can kind of figure that out. And unfortunately, that made the early hours for this game a little more annoying than it needed to be. It's a like a 50, 60 hour game, so if you're willing to put up with like 10 hours of frustration, the rest of it should be pretty fun. So, would recommend.
Hell yeah. It's on my wish list. I don't know when I'll ever play it because I feel like I'd rather play some of the Dark
The
Souls
better ones,
things
yeah, yeah.
before
It's
this
definitely
game,
like
maybe?
this is my least favorite
Damn.
Souls-like that I've played, technically, but it's still good.
But that's because the quality level is so high, like the standard.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not one that I would want to. Well, I might replay because the new game plus seems like fun, and you already have the builds. But like, it's not like a Kazan where I can imagine myself going back to that and playing through it. Like as soon as I finished that game, I was like, damn, I want to play through it again. Or like, I was the same way for Liza P, where I'm like, ooh, I could
Yeah.
play that again right now.
Uh-huh.
But for some people, I'm sure it got a pretty positive reception when it came out.
Yeah, I feel like it got glazed the fuck out of when it
Yeah,
was first released, and a little bit
I
more
think that's why
recently. There's
I
more
had
criticisms of it
yeah
coming up.
I, I think that's why I had such high expectations and they weren't fully met. But
Hmm.
it's definitely an impressive game that I'm glad it got the positive press it got. I hope the devs can make some interesting uh, DLC maybe or other projects. Um, I wish them success.
Hell yeah. So that's
Right.
the end of the video game section, correct?
It is, which means I talk more. I get to talk more music because music is back.
Damn.
February is here.
February is a
February
month that
came and went,
exists, and
and
some
we
music exists.
actually got music release. So let's go through these quick. Uh, New album from Mandy, Indiana. It's their second album. It's insane. It's crazy. It's really kind of industrial with electronic stuff. It's very experimental, kind of aggressive and in your face. Really great production, super biting and crunchy, and like just sounds really good. Not for everyone, but definitely a cool experimental piece to check out. Same thing from this new album from Bystorm, My Ghost Go Ghosts. This is the project that spun off of Injury Reserve after they lost one of their members in 2020. Their first album as a duo now, and this album is like a weird experimental hip hop piece, very experimental. Lots of weird kind of ambient electronic passages where it's just kind of trippy and strange, but really interesting subject matter dealt with on this thing about death and life and a bunch of existential shit that it's somewhat too heady for me, but worth checking out if you're interested in that stuff. Another new release from Rat Boys, Singing to an Empty Chair. This is just like classic indie rock stuff, kind of twee, very summery and energetic. Nice guitars, good tunes. Nothing more to say there. Album from Hemlock Springs, The Apple Tree Under the Sea. Really good pop, synth pop, very kind of energetic and summery. Hemlock has such a great kind of voice and presence on each track. Some great songwriting, very biting and kind of funny, and also just sounds great, very catchy. Same thing from this smaller EP I want to point your way from Sarah Kinsley, Fleeting. Also poppy, very synthy, great production. It's just like very highly produced pop. Just a few tracks, but they're all really kind of catchy and very melodic. Great tunes on that thing. Um, Baby Keem just dropped after it's like 10 years. No, it's like 10 years, something like that. Long time since the Melodic Blue. But he finally comes through with his, I think, third, fourth album, Casino. Um, it's good. I wish I could say it was, the home run that I wish it was. I still don't know if Keem has really hit that peak that I feel like he has in him. But Casino is a fun project, much shorter than his other stuff, and so it's more streamlined in that way. Not as many bangers as his other projects, technically, but I think it leads to an overall more cohesive listen that leaves me wanting more. So I can't say that's a bad thing in this case. But another album from Gorillaz, famed, interesting art project from Damon Albarn of Blur fame, where they, I think it's technically like a duo that work on things with various other collaborators. And their newest album, The Mountain, is one of my favorites from them in a long time. Really grand in scope, tons of features from both posthumous artists as well as actors and other collaborators that are still with us today. It explores India in a really interesting way, pulling from their music and culture and spirituality and this really kind of interesting concept for an album. I think it's one of their best albums in a while, and really worth a listen. Very grand, beautiful songs, very lush instrumentation, and just ambitious as all hell. Glad to see them kind of create such a fun project. Another short one to point to you from Buck Meek, one part of Big Thief, with his album The Mirror. I've been listening to his stuff for a while. Nothing's really hit me as this album has. It's nothing too out of the ordinary. Pretty classic indie rock, indie folk with some alt country leanings. But it's just kind of energetic and warm and very friendly stuff. Kind of rustic with a little psychedelic twist to it. But just fun lyrics and a good project from him. Happy to point your way. And then finally, a new album from Mitski, indie darling, been making music for a long time now, damn near 10 years, over 15. And she's been on quite a tear recently because this newest album, Nothing's About to Happen to Me, is another great one that she's been dropping in the past 4 projects, I'd say, have all been pretty standout for me. This one, a little more lo-fi at points, some elements of slacker rock in here, but other elements of her lovely, lush art pop and instrumentation is just so beautiful sometimes. Love the production that they use to kind of envelop her voice and create some really wonderful tunes. So great new release from her. But that takes us to the end of a music update. On to books. You read? You can
Do
read,
I
right?
read it? Hell no, not this one.
Oh hell! All right. Well, I can continue talking.
Take it
then.
away.
I've got a couple to talk about. One, you know how it is. Book club, Alchemized, Senlin Yu. This is a weird one. It's I was reading it. I was unaware that it was originally a why am I blanking on the word? A fanfic of of Harry Potter, and two people in a relationship that are not at all connected in, or would not be really in a relationship in the series. Would you be able to guess who these two might be? This would be
Malfoy and Dobby. I don't know. Like what?
Oh, you got one of them. How about Malfoy and Hermione? Uh,
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
oh, okay,
yeah.
okay, 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 okay,
Mudblood.
okay.
Yeah, it's from what I know of internet culture, it's a somewhat
That's not the
common ship.
craziest ship ever.
Yeah, it's a relatively common ship. Um, and long story short, the author had created a fanfic. I think it got popularized. It might have gotten published, and then it got rebranded into this wider, more polished book. It's it's not my tea. Not too good, really. It's just it's the problem that I have with, you know, one-off books that are trying to create this rich world for you to live in.
Uh-huh.
It's really hard to land that in
Yeah,
such a way where reading about this world in such a way is engaging, because a lot of times it comes off like I'm being told instead of being shown. And show don't tell. It's like the most elementary level kind of instruction on how to write
yeah,
well. But it's difficult when you're trying to create an entirely new world and illustrate that to the audience. Unfortunately, I think that's the weakest aspect of this book is it's just boring to read. There's not much happening. There's a lot of like edgy. This is a dark romance, like dark fantasy romance. It's smut, book talk, whatever. All of those keywords. And so it's like there's torture and like rape and like weird like traumatic reading stuff. It's a weird one. And none of the characters are real except for the like, Hermione
yeah.
and Malfoy. All of them are just like the most paper cut, like just like fake as fuck, so evil, so two dimensional. Um, and then it also just it's too long. It's a long book, and it feels like it's gone nowhere, and it's yeah, unfortunate. But what you read from book club. Um, Other book I want to point your way is a new one that I've been seeing get a ton of popular praise, or at least popular reception, and that's Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Oh,
I'm not sure if you've heard of this one, but
I've heard of it.
I've been getting a recommended to me from a bunch of different sources. So I finally checked it out. Checked the first one from Matt Dinneman. Um, it's a fun one. It's definitely reminiscent of like a old school book that I would have read, like just like a serialized format of kind of low effort, engaging reads. It's part of the lit RPG genre where essentially, I don't know, it's kind of the conceit of the book is that it's framed as like a video game, or at least there's like a game sort of element to how the story is played, because you have your main character who is, long story short, forced into a game show, like an intergalactic game show where he's being forced to play through death games essentially and try and go through different levels to this dungeon. And so it's in that way it's very anime. It's very kind of like
It's like an
solo
American
leveling,
isekai.
overgeared. Yeah, very much so. And you have him picking up the dagger of flames +1, or like +2 to backstabbing, +3 to foot stomping, whatever. It's a lot of numbers like that being thrown around, and it's fun in that way where it's like, okay, the author's giving him something that, this doesn't seem like it would be useful at all. I wonder
Mm,
how he would use this. And then, later on, he gets a cool little set piece moment to show
okay.
off, how he can use all this. Um, the humor's pretty fun. It's very kind of, not a super engaging read, but it's like, it's fun to read and it's pretty quick. It's not a super long book. So I can see the appeal of this series, and I understand why it's been getting so popular.
Hmm.
Glad I checked it out.
Yeah, it looks like there's a ton of books already in this
Yeah,
series, even
yeah,
though it
there's a
started
lot.
only somewhat recently.
Yep. Yeah,
Are they long?
definitely.
Or like, how long was this
No,
one?
this one took me an afternoon to read. So it's like, I don't know, uh, 300 pages maybe.
Okay.
So not too
Yeah,
bad.
just a couple hours from the life of Pete.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a couple of years worth for some other people. Um, I might read this someday, but I don't read super.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. You've
Um,
got other books to read.
I have other books to finish.
Right.
I've already
Yeah,
begun and haven't read it in
I'll be ready
a
eventually.
year. Mm, mm. Yeah, cool. Because yeah, I've heard of these somewhere. I think the Quest for the Best in Anime podcast. I think
Mm,
these guys have
mhm.
talked about this.
Yeah,
I've
it's
gassed it
definitely
up a little
been
bit, even though it's not
getting
anime.
mentioned more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's fun. Yeah.
Hell yeah! All right, onto YouTube. Don't give me that
Hey,
look.
hey,
Are you telling
I
me
don't
there's
have
no
anything to.
sports? There's
Uh,
no sports happening in
we're kind of on
February.
the intermediary
Hey, we
period
got
after the
sports.
Super Bowl. I
We got
mean, we got
sports.
Olympic stuff happening.
Oh shit, we do have Olympics.
Yeah,
Does
the
that
U.S.
count as
is winning
YouTube?
a lot, or at least like most of the things that I was interested in.
Did you watch any of the Summer Olympic stuff?
I was watching some of the hockey stuff just because I've been
Or
getting
excuse
into
me,
hockey.
winter. I'm so silly.
Uh,
I said summer.
but other than that, I haven't been really keeping up. Just the
Men's hockey or
headlines,
women's
stuff like
hockey or
that.
both?
I didn't watch either of the games, but I watched both of the highlights. So cool that we
Uh,
both won. Yeah.
and you watch them on YouTube
Yes, sir.
because it's the YouTube section.
Because the YouTube section, and that's
Even though we
that's where
just
the sports were.
put in sports anyways, even if it's full matches. Um,
Oh, I do have something to mention, actually.
oh,
I can shout out another podcast, someone much more impressive than us. Um,
what?
Pablo Torre. Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast. I just found out about him recently, but he's doing like sports investigative journalism, and like he was. You don't know anything about sports drama, but a while ago, there was a huge corruption and there's multiple scandals happening in the NBA at the same time. The first one was that there was a gambling scandal where poker games being set up and they were corrupted and gamed poker games where uh, essentially they were fraudulent and people were using it to steal money from other people. And so there was an investigation about that. Pablo Toro was one of the ones to kind of break the story there. But then he was also one that released another bombshell where Kawhi Leonard, one of the star players in the NBA, turns out he ended up going to the team he's on now because, well, allegedly, I guess the investigation is still going on, but allegedly, the owner of the team he's on now, Steve Ballmer, the 10th richest person in the world, essentially went around the team's market cap and set up essentially like a fraudulent company in order to funnel money to Kawhi Leonard that doesn't go technically through the team. It's technically through another uh, company, which is technically not run by Steve Ballmer. So technically, he can't get in any trouble with it. But unfortunately, he, over the course of these few episodes that I watched on the podcast, he literally went through all of the fucking like the tax write-ups, all of the receipts of the paper trail of Steve Ballmer, paying 21 million to this weird company that has no other financials, and then these 21 million company giving it straight to Kawhi Leonard. It's just like an interesting story, and the podcast does a really good job of kind of it's almost like a true crime documentary where it's like he's kind of laying out the whole structure of the podcast with each like new hint of evidence and kind of laying it on thick, and it's very engaging as a watch. Interesting and scary kind of. It's depressing because all of these scandals that are happening in the NBA are so tied to the gambling epidemic that has been taking over all of sports, really,
Yeah, yeah.
and the U.S. in general. And they're so tied together because like people are betting on these things, and like all of the open market, poly market, whatever, all that bullshit.
Hmm.
Like people are just able to literally bet on the outcomes of sports, and so the stakes are higher than ever for like financials and the ways that players and insider trading can affect the markets, and why like people who are in the know and like people who have the power, like the 10th richest person in the world or the players on the court, can usually have a bit more knowledge over the facts of the game than
Hmm.
some hillbilly in Kansas that wants to fucking bet on the over under on some player who knows he's going to come out on the fucking fourth quarter or whatever. So it's just the podcast was fun in order to kind of investigate that world of sports, which is definitely in an interesting position due to the proliferance of gambling and just the state of mainstream media and sports in general. We're in an interesting time in the world right now.
Yeah, man. So he's basically just an investigative journalist YouTuber for
He used to
sports
be
focused
so he used to
things.
be ESPN. They fired him. He does independent work now. Does this podcast, and then also does investigative stuff on the side in order to break it on his podcast.
That's cool.
And in this case, it's actually just like a federally like it's like there's a federal case involved because the the company in question, this like fraudulent company,
Hmm.
is like defrauding the people of the U.S. It's bigger than the NBA. So it's like there's layers to this where there's this scandal in the NBA because
Yeah.
Kawhi got acquired fraudulently through going through the money cap. But there's also the aspect of it. Oh, this entire company is like fake as fuck. The money in here that people like invested in, some of it is like completely fake and like used to just pay off this fucking NBA player. So it's
Damn.
weird shit going on. Yeah, maybe billionaires are the problem. I don't know. I don't know. It's a
Hmm.
hot take.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
Man.
any cool YouTube on your part?
Yeah, I got a couple. One of them it first comes from this YouTuber Narrow, who I don't think I've mentioned before. He's a really good YouTuber. He makes video game focused things, and I think he has good takes overall. He knows a lot about especially modding and like hardware and stuff like that. And he made a recent video called "Remakes and Art: Can Games Be Replaced?" And it's about some topics that not only have we talked about in previous podcast episodes, but we've also, or at least you've mentioned other YouTube videos that sort of focus on this thing, the idea of like remakes for video games and stuff. So it's another one of those like types of discussional videos here, and it's really well done overall because he goes over like the history of like gaming and how like the technical limitations can lead to certain things happening in gaming to the point where like the audience member is like recognizes the flaws not as flaws but as just parts of the game, and they become like attached and like nostalgic for that, to the point where like when a remake occurs and like things get modernized, it's like it's not even like a thing that they'll even really be complaining about necessarily, even though the devs at the time were like, I wish we could have done things differently, but because of technology at the time, that's we can only get so far in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes over like the whole comparison between like remake video games and remakes of films and how they might be different from one another and how they should be like categorized and considered differently as such, not just as art, but also like as just like in terms of how often they should happen or why or if they should even happen to begin with. And there's just a lot to go on in that video, and it's also nice to see like a comment section not just filled with like a bunch of memes or like one liners.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get some of those initially, but then like a good chunk of the comments are like actually people talking about it and being like, I disagree with these points because of such and such, and like it's just nice to like see that and see the conversations happening in the YouTube comment section.
Hmm.
Um, so it's a really good video. I'd recommend his channel. Overall, you may have seen his profile picture float around. It's the fucking like Majora's Mask moon, all like fucked up, and I don't know.
Hmm.
It's like it's sort of a wacky, just stupid profile picture that doesn't really match the very serious tones that his videos tend to have. Um, so there's that. I would recommend that. Um, Glorb, who I've previously mentioned, dropped another banger in the form of Atlantis with the music video associated with it.
Hmm.
It's if in case you've forgotten, he does the AI
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob things
Yeah.
where he
Hmm.
gets the AI voices to sing the characters, but he'll like write the songs and he'll animate them. Um, and Atlantis, it's an absolute banger. In terms of the story, it's like kind of filler, I guess, because it's just like the
Hmm.
gang going to, well, Atlantis, which is the equivalent of Las Vegas for them. Um, but it's a fun time overall, and it's these videos are entertaining as fuck. If you haven't seen them, I have to reiterate, they're so good. They're so good. I'm not lying. They're legitimately like peak
True art.
fiction and music. They're
Cinema.
true art.
Cinema.
It's cinema. Well, you know what else is cinema? Another thing I've already mentioned before. Zoran's Train Everybody Challenge Conquest
Hmm.
Lunatic. I've rewatched it, and I'm not the only one who has, because in every fucking video in this YouTube series, everybody like there's people in the comments being like, I'm rewatching this for the second or third time or whatever, because it's so good. Because it is so good. He's got the post fucking commentary, narration
Hmm.
over everything he's doing. He's got the like in-depth review of each character and going over each action he does, and it's just like really fun seeing him like completely fuck around and break the one of the hardest Fire Emblem difficulties by
Hmm.
just like using everybody in like the most convoluted, silly ways sometimes. And he's like intentionally making his units weaker by unequipping skills that power them up and like giving them weapons that they're bad at, just so he could like grind out more support points and weapon experience and stuff like that. Like it's so entertaining to see, and like all the tech that he does with transferring characters and sheltering and stuff like that. It's just a really fun and nice series overall. I have to mention it again. It's been a pleasure checking out the whole playlist of videos. He only makes one maybe every like 3 to 5 months. It kills me a little bit. I wonder if he'll ever finish it. Maybe, maybe not. But hey, I've read and watched a lot of anime that don't have endings, so I could accept
Right,
that. The fact that like a
exactly.
YouTube series also
And you've
may not have
already
an ending.
rewatched it, so it's like
A yeah, a lot of
it doesn't
those,
even matter.
because yeah, a lot of the manga and anime that don't have endings necessarily have also gone back and looked at or viewed. Um, so I have to say it again. It's quite a nice time. It's quite a nice time. I like Fire
Let's
Emblem.
check
I
it
like
out.
YouTube. I like Zoran. He fucking in like episode 30, he starts singing "Lightning in a Bottle" out of nowhere. He like gets the fucking high notes, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing all of a sudden? It's such a
In my Fire
surprise
Emblem
in
playthrough,
my
what the
Fire
hell?
Emblem playthrough. Yeah, it's funny. Anyways, that's all I got to say. Are you
That's all
good?
I got to say.
Are you good?
I'm good. I'm
Viewer, are you
good.
good? I don't care. The video's done now.